right, welcome to Postcast Fish Talk, episode 4.
Man,
we are right. We are here tonight with our 44 tackle teammates and 44 tackle owner, Chris Kingree and Bobby Bakewell. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Bobby Bakewell, as he should be called from this point forward.
Bassmaster Open winner, Bobby Bakewell.
Yep, 2024 Lake Martin, last one of the EQ series. To come behind victory on the final day with a giant one on a buzzbait that I think anybody that was watching including myself, was, as we're driving home from that tournament, screaming from the top of our lungs, "Get it in the boat!"
Yeah, as it jumped over my hand 3 freaking times.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. Oh my god.
By the way, on a lake that nobody knew we were going to until 3-4 days before.
Yeah, it was like a week. Yeah, it was.
So, and if I remember correctly, you were pretty flustered after practice. It did not go well for you.
No, it was terrible. It was terrible.
I come by you at one point in time. I don't know, we're somewhere on the lake and this and that, and you were Rick were practicing away, and you were up by shore, and your bait was hung in the tree about 8 foot off the water. And I'm like, dude, like, you okay? It's like, this lake, I can't figure it out. Nothing's going right. I'm like, well, dude, you can't catch them up there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Losing your mind.
Yeah. All right. So one thing I learned about Bobby after traveling with him all year is no matter what practice he had, even the last, he would talk about not going out on Wednesday. I would say all but like 2 tournaments out of the year, like where he actually talked about like not having a great practice most of the time. He's like, I'm going out Wednesday regardless. It doesn't matter. I've got to. But I would say more times than not, he was originally planning on not going out and then was like, oh God, somebody's caught him this way. This good. I can't, I don't have enough. I don't have enough. And that's all you would hear all night. The night before is him arguing with himself about how he didn't have enough going into the next day. And, you know, he'd come to the weigh-in like and have like a not so great bag on one of the days, which was still like good enough for like 60th place out of 220, and was super upset about it. And then next thing you know, he comes in the next day with 20 something pounds and like second biggest bag or biggest bag of the tournament. And it's like, yeah, rough day.
Yeah. No, I man, I'm like the day 2 kid. Unfortunately, like it's just, I don't know if it's how I practice or what it is, but I mean, I've always been like that. Where like the first day, I run everything I ran in practice, and especially with the format we have with 5 days of practice, so much changes from the first day you get there, especially with the caliber of anglers, how many anglers. So like, I run everything, and it would be like, it would be rough, and I'd have to mangle just to, you know, come in with what I do come in with. And then the second day I would just have to apply what I learned. And I don't know why, but something, you know, a lot of times it works. So unfortunately, Leech Lake, that was just a kick in the teeth. That one was just in a hole, not good. But, and it was one of the ones I didn't go on Wednesday, Chris. So,
I went on Wednesday.
I did. Well, yeah, but you got like 2 days of practice because your boat was down. Yeah.
I went every day practice.
Yeah. Well, remember
I had a charging issue, but I still fished.
I got you.
Old power pole charge kept me alive for 3 days without even plugging in.
Yeah, that was honestly crazy. But yeah, it was always eventful. Every event, it was always eventful. It never goes according to plan.
No.
So what led you to the buzzbait bite on Martin? Was it just the time of year, or did you get a little sniff of that in practice?
Honestly, I mean, I'll freaking shout him out. Tyler Campbell. He told me he got a couple 2-pound bites on it one of the days because I was spinning because I knew I was in like 13th in points or something like that, and you had to be in the top 9 to make the elites. I needed to make up like 70 spots or something, or no, I think it was 67 I had to make up. And I was like, well, my absolute only chance is top 10ing. So I was just trying my hardest just to, like figure out a way to win. Like usually every practice you can at least figure out how the tournament's going to be won. That sounds obnoxious, but I mean, we're all good enough fishermen. You can figure out like how people are going to win. It's just a matter of where to do it. Right time, right place, all this other good stuff. There's of course tons of factors, which makes it hard, but you can figure out what the fish are doing and where, not necessarily where, but that one, man, it's just so full of fish. You can go everywhere and catch a bass, but the vast majority is a pound to, or a freaking 8 inches to a pound and a quarter. So everybody's going to have 5 pounds, everybody, but it was a matter of getting that 1 3/4 to and up bite. And I fished for 4.5 days straight because we only get a half day the final day, daylight to dark, and was just trying to figure out a way that I could get a better bite. And I would run, I ran the bank and stuff, and I was still getting small bites. And then Tyler Campbell told me that, and I still was getting small bites doing it. And yeah, that's why I was spinning, was because I was trying my hardest to figure out how I could do that, and I couldn't figure it out. And come to find out, I was just doing it in the wrong place. And the final day of practice, I caught like a 2 3/4 to 3 pound spot on it. And so the first day I was like, well, I'll just start there, and then I'm gonna just fish deep, fish brush piles and stuff. And then the first day I started running that stuff, and the same exact spot I caught that spot in practice. I caught a 270 spot, which there was a good one. And after that, I didn't really have anything else to run, bank wise. So I just started running all new stuff, and it didn't really go well. So I started fishing brush piles and stuff and filled my limit. I had like 914 or something. And the second day I ran that zone, didn't get bit. And I ran another zone that I was fishing deep in, and had 10 pounds, and like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, I had 10 pounds, which there is a good bag.
Absolutely.
And it was really just stumbling into the right area, like what the right stuff was, like figuring out what they were on, region of the lake, so that was how, I ended up figuring it out. And, and there was definitely some luck involved, but, I'll take all the luck I can get.
Better be lucky than good any day, right?
Right. That's right.
I remember watching that cast when he made it under that dock, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, if something does not eat that thing with where he put that buzzbait, like all the rule books get thrown out the window, because like, I don't care if you threw like a jig or Senko or anything, like the placement of that cast was like the stars aligned that it made it to that back post.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted it to go further. That's why I went sploosh, but it didn't skip that one time. It bugged the heck out of me. I've seen that clip 100,000 times. Where it's like poof. I'm like, but a buzzbait's hard to skip. Every now and then it's so, because like I said, I never throw buzzbait, and so like it's just so like every cast isn't the same with it, because you have so much involved with that big blade and the harness and everything. So like, yeah, sometimes it does skip, and sometimes it just don't. It don't matter who you are, it just don't.
So was it what I saw the fish catch, like Chris said, the cast and stuff like that, but we were driving, it was cutting in and out. Was the owner of that dock behind you in a boat spectating?
Yeah. So like, and he honestly had me spinning out. Like, so I'm over here in third place, but the funny thing is like in my head, I'm like, I have no chance. Like I realistically, Will Davis is leading the tournament. He is arguably, if not one of the best fishermen in Alabama. And like, he's a stud on that lake, and he's leading the tournament. I'm like, I'm screwed. I'm 2 pounds back, which on that lake is massive.
Huge.
So like, and honestly, it was kind of the thing that helped me. I was like, I told my camera guy in the morning, I was like, dude, we're just going to go have fun. Like, I guarantee, at that point I knew I wasn't going to make the elites. So I'm like, well, shoot, you know, and I know I'm getting paid. I'm in the top 10. I'm like, so the worst that can happen is I come in 10th. So I'm just going to go have fun. Hopefully, you know, maybe make some couple good moments of the being on camera, you know, enjoy it. And yeah, so I was fishing and I ran to somewhere that I'd never fished before in my life. I was up the night before looking on a map at where I caught him the second day, trying to compare places that were like it. And there was only one place up the lake that I'd never fished before. And it was dirtier water, a little shallower. And like, I never make my first cast, like, you know, an actual cast. I always just like pitch it out there. So I did that. And then my second, my second cast, I threw up to a bank and caught one, you know, just a little spot. And my camera guy like wasn't even ready yet. And I caught two, but anyway, so I had two on Bass Track, you know, for, I don't know, 2.25 pounds for two fish, but I'm pretty sure it made up my deficit. And I was like leading the tournament, and I guess the boat owner saw it. Blew my mind how many people watch fishing that live on that lake, because like I kept, especially after I caught that fish, I kept rounding a corner and people were walking out of their houses and like, you know, pointing, like, you know, hey, good luck, Bobby, you know, great job, Bobby. And I'm like, I don't know how these people know who I am. Like I was freaking out, honestly. And but yeah, anyway, so I'm going down the bank and this guy's following me. I have a camera boat following me and this guy following me, and he starts asking me questions. You know, he's like, why are you throwing a whopper plop, or why are you throwing a buzzbait over a whopper plopper? And I knew a lot of the guys, you know, I knew like Josh Butler was catching them on a plopper, and a bunch of the other guys were catching them on a plopper, but like I threw it in practice, didn't really get bit on it, and I did get bit on it. So like, I mean, I it was working, so I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I was also fishing around some docks, and I couldn't skip the plopper, you know, I mean, so I went with the buzzbait, and I caught that fish, and that, you know, when I held up, I'm like, that's why I threw the buzzbait, because in my head, I'm over here like I haven't got bit in a while, and I'm like, man, should I be throwing that whopper plopper? You know, like, am I messing up here? You know, so my head was just going and going and going. And I caught that one. Then I, you know, hollered on. That's why I threw the buzzbait. And then after it settled down a little bit, he's like, that's his dock, because I guess the dock owner, you know, he's an older gentleman, and he had a younger gentleman running the boat, and I don't know if it's his son or something, I don't know, but yeah, and he, you know, so he hollered like this guy's dock that you were talking to. And that was pretty crazy. Of all docks to catch it off of.
Right.
And then, like, you know, I caught that fish, and of course they aired it over Bass Live, and you know, my phone just started erupting. But
yeah, I remember hearing
that little corner just started coming out of their houses, like, you know, and I'm like, man, like, this is great. You know, one of the guys in the back of the pocket was actually fishing the tournament as a co, and he's like, great job, Bobby. And I'm like, I looked at my camera guy. I said, thanks, man. And I was like, I guess that guy knows who I am. You know, I didn't know what was going on. It finally built for a little while. All my brain cells were going towards just catching that fish. You know, like the adrenaline was just going. So yeah, it was crazy that of all docks, it was the dock owner that was following me.
That's cool. That's what it's all about, though. That's awesome, man. It was cool to see. Yeah, because we were just like, man, do you think Bobby can pull it off? I'm like you said, I'm like, man, it's a little over a 2-pound deficit. I'm like, he's gonna need a miracle. He caught that fish, and I'm like, there's on the center console, and I look at her, I'm like, now he can win. Yeah, that just made up everything right there. Now he can do it.
A 4-pounder on that place was like a miracle fish, regardless.
Yeah. Big fish in the tournament. Freaking by an ounce. I was like, yes.
I don't know. I was a nervous wreck in the truck on the way back. He's driving. We're watching. Chris, I know you were probably on your way.
Yeah, Hollywood and I were watching. Yeah, we were watching. Well, no, I didn't end up going, actually.
You didn't go?
No, so it was like we were down here with the hurricane. The hurricane just gone through, and I'm glad I actually I fished 8 out of the 9 tournaments, and that one, you know, when they changed it to Martin and they announced the hurricane and all that stuff, you know, there was a lot of things that I called a couple of my sponsors and was like, you know, what should I do? Because we're looking at situations where we might not get gas on the way.
Mhm.
And that was a concern I talked to, Chris Bose and Hank about beforehand when we were supposed to be going to Hartwell. And I said, if you guys haven't really thought about this, there may be guys traveling through the areas that are, while you see stuff on the news, you don't realize it till you drive through it,
Mhm.
how bad the devastation was, from 2 hurricanes back to back going pretty much the same route. And, that whole like Big Bend area of Florida and Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, like got hit hard. And I was worried about the idea of like, yeah, we might make it, 1 tank in, 2 tanks in, something like that. But there's guys traveling from all over, like you guys too. 40 was shut down to come in from the north side. So you'd have to come, through Chattanooga either way to get there, which is heavily trafficked and from evacuations and all that stuff at that time. And there was no guarantees that you might get 200 miles away and not be able to get gas or diesel.
Yeah.
And so that was a concern. And then also people with their Airbnbs not even possibly even having a place to stay because the power wasn't on yet.
Yeah.
Right.
So luckily, we were able to get our money back, and I took that as a sign, getting, because I had the deposit on our Airbnb,
Mhm.
and we had just gone through a week of the store being closed and really not having any business for that 2 months there and weighing in stuff. And I was like, for my side, I'm not in the points race at this point. There's a lot of factors. And I called around and made sure it was okay with, Discover Crystal River, who was my title, and they, at Citrus County Tourism, and they just suffered the same thing we all did. And so it's one of those deals where we kind of talked it over, and they said, you know what, it's fine. Just reset for next year. There's no sense in putting yourself in danger or whatever, especially at that point, like going up there was when we knew that there was another one coming, but we didn't know where Milton was going to hit at that time. And their forecast was to go right up the pipe through Crystal River, their first forecast, which is right by me. And so we thought the worst of that. And I just said, it's probably a good idea for me to stay home on this one. And then he met, of course. And so we've got this running joke because when Tyler won on Watts Bar, we had a back-to-back and we had to go to Ozarks to start practice the next day. And so those guys that had to stay for the top 10 actually had to travel on the first day of practice or the night after weigh-in, 10 hours from Watts Bar to Ozarks.
Right.
And so I had told him, because he was second place, I think, going into the last day. And I was like, man, I'm so sorry, but I think I'm gonna drive to Ozarks. If you win, we'll party at Ozarks. And sure enough, he ended up winning. And the running joke is that if I'm there on the last day, that nobody wins. So,
So
You told me that now.
that's poor Andrew Hargrove. Now I've been to 2 top 10s of his, and he's missed the shot. So if Andrew ever has another shot, I won't go to his last day take off.
So really what you're saying with the classic coming up is you just need to get out of Dodge.
Oh, bro. Yeah. If
Well,
I'm in
it's the final day. If you're in the top 10 going into the
I'm
final
just-
day, I'm just gonna run. I'm gonna drive home from Texas.
Chris is
If
leaving. He's gone.
yeah,
He's out.
if you or Tyler are in the top 10, I'm gonna peace out. I'll just fly home. I'll let Leslie drive.
We'll be there, Bobby. We got you.
That's right.
We're sending Chris away.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
so-
We weren't there either, so we'll just give him some baits, whatever he asks for baits.
Whatever you
Yeah.
want.
We'll buy them for you quick. We'll give you some.
yeah, we'll make a bait store run.
There you go.
No, but yeah, no, so Hollywood and I were watching because he was up there. He surprised Bobby and got up there, and so he was on his way, because him and I were talking about it the day before on when we should leave and whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna wait and see how the first hour alive goes, because like the first hour alive, I can figure out enough time with the time change that I might be able to make it in time, because it was like 7 hours from my house, I think. And so I was like, I might be able to make it for weigh-in. And then I'm watching, and it was like a little slow the first hour, and then him and I are on the phone and then watching, and Bobby catches that 4-pounder, and we both screamed at the same time, about threw our phone across the room, like the whole deal. and freaking out because like, and the worst part about that whole thing was watching him land the fish.
Oh my god!
Because like you see the thing jump twice and you see him miss it on the first try. And I'm like, oh my god, just put it in the boat.
I'm like, boat flip it, come on.
Yeah. Everybody told me I should have boat flipped it, but like, you know, I haven't seen a big fish I've been there for a week and I haven't seen a fish that big all week. So I was scared too. And honestly, in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't, because honestly, that is not one of the memories that I remember, but I'm pretty sure like it was just skin hooked in the roof of the mouth, because I've at least like trying to remember, I've watched the footage back, and with my back to the camera, like I literally like grabbed the fish and it goes and you know, and it was off. So with my luck, I would have boat flipped it and it would have come off midair. Oh my god! Then you would have been diving me up from the bottom of the lake. I would have drowned myself. But
FS1 would have heard new words.
oh my gosh, dude!
Beep,
No.
It was a really long delay.
So glad that didn't
beep, 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 beep.
happen. Dude, Jesus.
We interrupt this broadcast.
Yeah.
Emergency service.
Then they come back and it's still going beep, beep, beep.
Oh yeah.
There's a movie that had
It
that. I
off
can't
me
remember
for a
what it was.
long while until I catch another
Happy
one.
Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it was. Yeah. Everybody's like, you should have boat flipped it, and then I'm like, I got in the boat. I don't care. I'm
Yep.
you know, I'm glad I did what I did.
Well, it's like Okeechobee or like a Florida lake or like any of those like lakes where you've got like a Santee where you've got a chance at 3-pounders all day long, and you see a 3 or 4-pounder, you're like, yeah, I'll boat flip that one.
Yeah.
But a place where a 4-pounder's like a 10-pounder everywhere else, you're like, oh, we're gonna go a lot easier on. That's why it's so funny. You see the comments online. People are like, oh, these bass professionals, oh, they act like a 2-pounder's a big deal. Huh, huh, huh. You know, they get all freaked out until they realize it's on the Sabine River where it's like, you know,
Everything.
lucky to catch a 10-pound limit a day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, those are. I had a couple that fought really hard. By the time I got them in a boat, they didn't even weigh 2 pounds. And I'm around the boat,
Yeah.
doing like it's a 5-pound smallmouth, and yeah, all it is a pound and a half spotted bass.
They fought hard there, man.
Yeah, they did.
Seems like a lot of places though where I don't know if it's like just because you're babying them but it seems like a lot of places where the fish aren't that big, they pull harder. But
Yeah.
in their spots, so spots pull hard.
Yeah, those things are definitely angry. So, outside of obviously winning the last tournament, you had a very successful 2024. Like you said, just missed the elites. What's the top technique or techniques that carried you through the year?
Oh goodness. Probably a jerkbait. Honestly, because it usually does. That's Yozuri 3-degree deep jerkbait. That's what I throw like religiously. A drop shot. I mean, I caught every fish on St. Clair on a drop shot. That's kind of a given, but and one more of them. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but man, honestly, all year it was like because we were going to such different fisheries. A lot of it changed, but
Santee was off the wall.
Yeah. Santee was my dad's spinnerbait, a Bakewell custom jig spinnerbait. But I caught some on a jerkbait on Okeechobee. A jerkbait was the only thing that I threw at every single event. But I mean, shoot, our lakes were so different. You go from Leech Lake to a northern place like that where it's like smallmouth and largemouth, so you can frog or drop shot. And then you go to St. Clair where it's like all drop shot. Then you go to Oklahoma, Eufaula, where it's just hodgepodge because everybody's just trying to catch a limit because it's so tough.
The size limit's the hard one there.
Yeah. But it was.
Although Leech was
the only thing that
deal.
every single one was probably a jerkbait, maybe a Dimitri rig too, a minnow. Unfortunately.
What about that giant glide bait thing you had tied up?
That was just Okeechobee.
You actually caught fish on that thing?
Yeah.
Really?
7 pounder.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, buddy. Oh yeah. I caught a 7 pounder the first day, and then I caught a 7.
Didn't you catch like 2 7s the second day, like twins?
I missed a 7 the second day on it. I caught a 7, and then I had another one that was like, I don't know, 5 to 7 pounds that come up, jumped, and then it started coming at me, and I was reeling tight with it and started walking towards the bottom of the boat to scoop it, because I tell you what, catching them on that thing is one thing, like with a net, but without one, oh my God, because it's just so much weight, them shaking back and forth, because if you hook one on, it's going to be a good one. But I started walking to the back of the boat, and then my glide bait started coming back towards me. I don't know, it just come off. But I caught 2 of them on Okeechobee on that son of a gun. But
that's what we fish for muskies up here. We don't throw that kind of stuff because it would just get bit off. You'd have to put a 100-pound steel leader in front of it because the muskies and the pike could just bite it off.
Yeah,
that was why I never threw one at Leech, because I was deathly afraid that's what was going to happen.
Oh yeah, the muskies in there are next level on Leech Lake.
Wasn't some of the top guys throwing a pretty big perch swim bait?
Probably. Oh no, Brett Cannon.
Yeah.
He was throwing a 7-inch like Sakamata and a mag draft.
Oh, okay. That's crazy. Smallmouth thing. He
was using a huge minnow.
Out deep for pinging?
Yeah, off of rocks.
Yeah, that dang place.
I didn't spend too much time out deep on that pond. It was I love the largemouth there. They're the most aggressive fish on the planet, I swear. And I saw enough to make top 10 in practice of largemouth up shallow.
Oh, buddy.
And that whole Stormfront day off thing really.
Yep.
And I adjusted decently on day 1 and figured them out. Day 2, I got my undies in a bundle and I left that area, and I shouldn't have. I should have slowed down and hunkered down even more.
Yep. I didn't adjust. I also had a stupid practice on a frog. Like literally eating the frog, pushing the button, and they drop it, the frog floats back up, and they were eating again. It's like, this is stupid. I took Hollywood, our camera guy, out for one day, and he was like, at 10 o'clock, he's like, bro, take me back to the bank. Like, I've got everything we need. It was dumb.
Well, that one video you had on Instagram of that frog eat was just sick. Where like it just
annihilated it. Tournament. I mean, that was the second day of the tournament. And like that was the thing is I love throwing a frog. Like I may like everybody out of Florida sees me as a Florida boy, but everybody from Florida sees me as a scoper. Like they don't really like it. But anyway, they like I love throwing a frog, and they were eating it so good. And like the first day I had one smoke my frog, caught it. It was a 4-pounder, but I had it hooked right here on a frog, and I should have just known then that it wasn't going to happen. But like I say that, and then like the second day, my first bite of the day was that dang 4-pounder that just obliterated it.
Oh, like a shotgun.
And the fish come plumb out of the water on it, had it down its chompers. The legs were coming out of its gills. It's like, what? How is there that fish here, but not, that place? It was obvious it wasn't meant to happen because, like, I kept getting thrown morsels to keep me doing it. And gosh, man, oh my gosh.
The sad part is it like depend which rice patch you were on. Because like me and Scott Isaacs were fishing a rice patch. He was on one side of it. I was on the other, having a full conversation. We were catching fish like every third cast. Every one of mine was a half an inch short, and every one of his was a half an inch over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every one that he put in the boat went right in the boat. And I'm like, all of mine I had to measure. And then I had like 2 over 4 just absolutely jaws that thing and went straight over the top of it. Just free willy.
Mm-hmm.
And my co-angler that day was just like freaking out. He's like, my boater yesterday didn't have a quarter of these bites all day, let alone the first 30 minutes that we were here.
Yep.
Yeah, that stuff was wild. Mine was all well, as Chris knows, because I started like, hey, you got any more of these at the shop? You can send me quick the bluegill colored swim bait or swim jig rather. And he's like, I don't. Let me make some calls. He calls me back. He's like, I can get you a dozen of them. They'll be here. I'm like, yep, whatever you got to have, send them. I never caught a fish on one of those in the tournament. I think I got 10 of them from you. Yeah, never caught a fish on it. I had 2 of them tied on. That's how confident I was going in, and I never caught a bass on it.
You say that every tournament. You send me for something for every tournament. I buy it, and then you don't catch anything in the tournament on it.
Oh, I got to the point where, like, you know, you think the tackle store being the easy way to like prep for all this stuff. Like, I just walk through with a basket, be
Right.
like, yeah, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. I've got all of this, and you know, it's like we still go. And then the one thing that I've got like 3 of in a pack that I haven't thrown in probably 6 months is the one thing. For some reason, I decided to put it on in the moment, and it worked. And now I've got to have 5 bags of it because I'm about to run out. You know, I'm not going to be able to last 3 days on it, you know, or you're breaking a bunch of them off, and, you know, because you're fishing around stuff you shouldn't be fishing around. But it's
you
like
follow Oklahoma 2 years ago. I was sitting in 18th place after day 1 at almost 16 pounds on a crankbait. Made a 3-hour round trip that night to Broken Arrow to get more of those crankbaits. Bought every stinking one they had. The next day I caught over 30 fish on that crankbait. Not one legal one. I fell from 18th to 109th.
Yep.
Jeez.
And I burned 40 gallons of gas because my bridges were, I crossed under 9 bridges to get, I had 2 bridges that were complete opposite ends. You couldn't get much farther apart, and that's where I was fishing. And I'm like, oh, so I run the first one, like nothing legal. Catch a bunch of little ones, go back through it, go back through it, go back through it. Like, all right, well, I got this other area, go through it, short fish. Go to this one, short fish. Like, all right, we're pulling the plug, go all the way to the other one. Like 40 minutes to get there. Short fish, short fish, short fish. But like, what, it had to be 14 inches. They were like 13 3/4, 13 and 7/8.
Oh, yeah,
like right there. And I catch a whole crap load of them. I'm like, all right. So, and I run 3/4 way back to the other bridge. Short fish, short fish. I'm like, all right, it was a timing deal. The sun's out now. I got to go to that one. 30 minutes that way. Oh, dude, I literally caught 30 fish, never caught a legal one. I don't think I even had a legal one hooked.
Yeah, I was struggling in practice for that one, and that's the tournament. I think I probably should have hit myself over the head because it was about halfway through the year at that point, or a little over half maybe. But like, it really made me realize, because every time we went to Walmart, we went over this one section of water that I didn't look at in practice at all, and we went over it 3 times, and every time I went over, I'm like, man, that looks like that'd be a buzzbait bank from heck right there. And every time I'd say that going over the bridge audibly in the car and never stop there. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? Last day of practice, I took Hollywood out on the boat. And I'm like, let's go get some shots. And I've got to go check that spot. And so we ran down there, and my 3rd cast with a buzzbait was a 4-pounder. And I went, oh no. Like, hadn't got a freaking bite on a buzzbait all practice. I threw it like not crazy amount, but enough to like get discouraged. And I hadn't found what I was looking for, because I really wasn't looking for it. I was doing like everybody else was. I was out there trying to scope them on points, or throw a jerk bait, or spinner bait, or whatever, drag stuff around. And then about Tuesday, the day before the last day of practice, I finally got to thinking about it and going, you know what? I'm just going to go shallow. Everybody else is doing this stuff. I'm going to go like 1.5 feet of water and see if these fish are like residents anywhere. And of course, I'm on the phone with one of my vendors, and Rick is in the back of my boat in practice, and Easton Fothergill comes idling in, and I was looking down, didn't hear anything. And all of a sudden Rick's like, oh my God, good fish. And I look back, and he's got like a 3-pounder just tail walking. And I look up, and Easton's over there waving, and I'm like, okay. and so, and I'm on the phone with one of my suppliers trying to, you know, place an order. And Rick, I'm like, well, this is shot, not, and who knows what or whatever, but he ends up putting it in the boat. It was like 2.5, 3 pounds or whatever. And that was like one of the better fish we had seen that day, shallow. I'm like, okay, well, we'll try this a little bit more. And then really didn't catch anything the rest of the day doing that. He dead stuck a black fluke, just casted it out there and just was dragging it every like 10 seconds.
Sounds like
I don't know if I even want a black fluke.
I don't.
Yeah, no, unbelievable. But yeah, he does that out of nowhere. The funny part was, though, the way it looked like we were fishing the bushes, and he actually had casted it off the bank, and there just happened to be like a little like point that came off the bank and kind of dropped off, and he was dragging it up that point and it ate it off of it.
Nice.
But
Stupid
nice.
stuff.
yeah, it was wild. But that was the tournament that I kind of realized that I needed to not distract myself in practice doing stuff that I don't get to do. And it kind of like back in the day, I say back in the day, like 2018, I think it was, we fished Chickamauga, and I didn't know a lot about, like, as a store owner, I was like, do I need it? At that point, you're like, do you need to carry $25 jerk baits in the store? And I had a conversation with Glenn Brown back then that he was letting me borrow his jerkbait box to see what I want to carry. We can go figure out what I want to use, color patterns and stuff like that. And I told him I was going to Chickamauga and I didn't have any deep divers or this or that. And so he brings me a box of deep divers, a box of jerkbaits. He's like, I don't know what you need these for, but he's like, you can borrow the whole box, just bring back what you don't use, and we'll figure it out afterwards if you want to buy some. And so he brings them to me or whatever, and I'm telling him, like, yeah, it's Chickamauga this time of year is going to be ledge fishing stuff, things like that. I'm probably going to eat. And he goes, why the heck would you go to a place that you have never fished before and try to go adapt to what the winning technique is there, because that's what they do? And I was like, well, that's exactly what you said is why I would do it, because that's the winning technique, right? And he's like, no. He's like, I've cut a top 10 there every time I've been there, never fished over 3 foot of water. It doesn't matter if it's summer, spring, fall, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's like, do what you are good at doing and what you're comfortable doing, because you got to remember, these guys have lived up here their whole life and do this every summer. Just like down here, where you've got all the guys that are really good at flipping and punching and all that stuff. That's all they do all year round. There's guys that'll put 2 rods on the deck of their boat, and that's it. It's a frog rod and a flipping stick, and that's all they do all day. And sometimes they don't do so well. They'll do 8 or 10 pounds, but when the stars align, they're 30 pounds.
Right.
And so that tournament that you follow is about the time where it finally like started hitting me over the head. Like, stop trying to go scope because it's efficient in the back of your head. But there's guys that, whether they're younger or whether they're just more time on the water 5-6 days a week, which is essentially what you're up against fishing the opens these days, is there are people that can carve out 5 days a week to just go fish. And and a lot of those guys are almost like they've got a drill sergeant in their head sitting there going, I need to figure this out. I need to figure this out. And it's every day's a practice day sometimes for them, whether it's on their home lake or go and try new lakes or try new techniques. And they'll spend a week or 2 weeks at a lake that they've never done that technique before, just so they can figure it out. And when you're up against that and you're trying to cram that all into 5 days of practice somewhere, it just doesn't work. And so you can, so while it sounds more efficient to go scope and look at every fish that you could possibly catch, which is, like bed fishing, it's the same thing. It's efficiency, more or less, that you're going and searching for the biggest fish that you can see with your eyeballs and try to make it bite. Because if you see a 7-pounder on a bed, it's obviously going to mean more to you than catching 3 3-pounders.
Yeah.
And so that to me started to finally click, that I think, going forward, and it could be part of the distraction as a whole this last year with all the controversy surfaced on it, is that we've just all been distracted and not focusing our time efficiently because we're trying to go catch fish efficiently. And it's really not as efficient when it's not your second nature to just do that. And that's why you've got guys like Tucker Smith or like Bobby that's really good with a jerk bait, and not necessarily just scoping, but Bobby with a jerk bait. I bet you Bobby can catch a fish in any area that sets up correctly for a jerkbait bite, and some that don't. But just because he's so confident with that one bait, he doesn't need the scope to catch it on that bait, because he knows his retrieve. He knows how they react to it when he does certain things. If he's looking at a certain like water column, he knows where that bait's going to be in the water column just from muscle memory. I don't know that scope would change the day as much with somebody that's good like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what you're saying resonates big time with like Ouachita, man.
I mean, I knew it was going to be a minnow shaking tournament, and but and I did it my whole entire practice, and I've never done it before. I was like, I'm going to learn this. I got 4.5 days to do it. I'm going to figure it out. Like my first fish was a 4-pounder. I'm like, I got this. Shoot. And then I caught like a random 5 all practice. But anyway, moral of the story, I did it in that tournament, and I only caught. It was my second worst finish. I came in 75th, and the guy that won was throwing a chatterbait and hydrilla and a trap. It's like, oh man,
well, that was the same with me. I did the same thing.
Yeah, it's a perfect example. It's like, if I would have I didn't even know there was grass in the lake because I spent the whole time in 30 feet of water scoping ditches and stuff. If I would have known that was there, and some of the guys caught them cranking rocks and stuff. I mean, shoot, I could have done that, but yeah, that one, I mean, that was deep cuts right there. You just saying that, and that perfect example is that dang tournament. But,
well, that's what Ouachita was for me. The first creek we pulled into, I'm fishing a crankbait down the bank like I like to do on, rock lakes and reservoirs and highland stuff, because we don't get to do that much down here. Like when we throw a crankbait down here, it's usually at a brush pile or over top of deep grass or something maybe. But most of the time, we don't really have the opportunity to throw anything but a square bill. And so when we go out to like I love that for like I'd say like Rocky Top, Tennessee kind of lakes, where you can go to like Douglas or, Cherokee or one of those and just take a DT6 or DT10 all day and just grind all day long, and you'll catch fish all day doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go to those places, that's usually like my go-to. I'll put a rock crawler or, a DT6 in my hand and just try to get a few bites and figure it out what they're on. Because usually when you can figure it out in a place like that, it's usually not so much about the location as much as it is the cover.
Right.
Whether it's a certain type of rock or certain type of wood or lay down a certain way or stumps the certain way. And I like that kind of fishing to just be able to cover water. And I think that's at my core is not so much the technique as much as how do I cover as much water as possible and get my bait in front of, and maybe that's kind of like the older school technique where they're doing that now in scoping, where it's like, if you watch, I've never fished with Bobby a day, but I've been around Bobby when he's like practicing. We've practiced close to each other a couple of times. And my trolling motor's on like 40-50%. His is on 100, like all day, and like almost throwing him out of the boat.
Maybe
like
8.
cooking trolling motor batteries.
Maybe 8.
But he's on search mode doing this with his trolling motor. And I'm on search mode just in a straight line going as fast as I can usually. And so it's just watching the contrasting techniques. I think if we look at that kind of stuff as like just going into tournaments and saying, what are my comforts? And just, you're going to be a lot more efficient going 3, 4, 5 days of practice all at once with your comfort zone than trying to like branch out in the middle of something. Like you should take a week off and just go somewhere and try to perfect those techniques rather than trying to do it the week of the tournament.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or pre-practice even.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, when I started traveling nationally and fishing the opens, and like, oh, they're doing this is what you got to do on this lake, this is what you got to do on that lake. And, same thing like you said with Ouachita. Oh yeah, ping in the minnow. Yep, I didn't even have leaders tied on. I pull into the lake, go over to this big creek arm or whatever, and I'm floating along, tying leaders up, and kind of a couple of jighead minnows on, and stand up and like, well, there's a fish. That's like a 3-pounder. I'm like, oh, there's a school of fish. Like, it's like 2 more. I'm like, hey, this is easy. I never caught no one the rest of the time on a freaking minnow.
I caught a few, but it was very, very tough for me.
Yeah.
My first fish the first day was a 4-pounder. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Of the tournament, not of practice. I mean, my first fish in practice was 4-pounder too, but I was like, here we go. Shoot, at 11 pounds, but yeah.
That one. I threw the trap in the hydrilla, but it worked in practice, and then it went away from the area I was in. It laid down, and it didn't.
That would make too much sense for it to stay there.
I know. That's why I'm kind of excited about the 3 days of practice this year. The big off limits again. The 3 days of practice, the off day. I think with that formula, you could go the tournament morning. You could run to a couple of areas maybe that you had fish in. You could learn a little something,
Yep.
And then because the lake has rested and it hasn't been pounded to piss, you could
Mhm.
actually run that pattern and be successful in it again.
I agree.
I think I'm kind of excited about that because that's kind of like you said, Chris, like just getting a couple pieces of the puzzle and then running with it is, I love to fish that way
Yeah.
because it's rewarding. You're like, oh, nope, right there. You see it on the map, you see a contour on the shoreline, whatever it is. That's it right there. You pull up, make a handful of casts, execute, and move on. So
Yeah.
definitely,
Well,
definitely hoping.
that was like Bobby at Santee this year. He, first day of practice, he went out. Do what?
I said that was a stressful tournament.
So he goes out and he's trying to shake a minnow and do brush stuff because we had watched like probably 15 Jacob Wheeler and Dustin Connell videos from Santee in the process of rigging up the day before. And that's all he could think about because it wasn't far from when we were there. And so the conditions were just short because I think the fish were getting ready to go to the bank at that point. And they were there when they were out on the brush before they started heading to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tried that for a day and kind of struck out pretty hard on it. And it went from like, okay, it's not so bad to day 2. He's like, I don't know where the fish went. They're gone. I said, they're going to the bank.
Yeah. Oh, I knew they were going to the bank. I know. I knew that. I knew they were going to the bank.
So I talked to him at like 11 on this day 2 of practice, and I hear the rod. I hear him engaging the reel. It just keeps on going click, shh, click. Shh. I said, "Are you flipping?" And he goes, "Yeah, I've pitched a jig to trees." I'm like, "Get back off the bank where you belong."
Oh no, I'm a Florida boy. All right, I can fish out. But yeah, no, it was driving me nuts because like we had first warming trend of the year, full moon that weekend. I was like, they are going to the bank, but I just didn't know where. Like every day of practice, it was like I catch like 1 or 2 fish. I was stressing.
Yeah.
But they, flooded the bank and like it was either you were in the right zone or you weren't. And like,
Oh yeah, and I was not.
Yeah.
I completely was not.
That is that lake. It is you hero or you zero. Like there's no middle ground. Like, it's feast or famine. And like, first I caught 1 fish off of a tree. I flipped a dang mile long stretch of trees with a jig, and I flipped it 1 in practice and dang lifted up and was swimming off. And I had caught so few fish. I was like, I'm sticking this son of a gun. And I did. I stuck him. It was like a 3-pounder. And I was like, well, cool, and I started on a couple brush piles in that tournament and like they were gone. Like I didn't see a fish on scope, and I'm like, all right, this, not seeing a fish at all. Nah, it's one thing if they don't eat. It's another thing if they're just gone. So I went to fish that stretch of trees. I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna fish that stretch of trees. And there was this bank grass that I had fished all practice, not got bit on, and I was coming up to the trees and threw a spinnerbait in the bank grass and caught like 1 almost 5 on spinnerbait. And I was like, well, I'll be dang. And maybe they're pulling up to the bank. And I go like 20 feet, catch a 6-pounder on a spinnerbait. And you want to talk about a bite. Oh, my God. It was so awesome. I still remember that bite. But, yeah. And so, caught those 2. And then I caught 1 more, like 2 or 3-pounder. And there was like 2 other boats in the area. You talk about shouldn't have left that area. I leave it because I'm like, oh, there were some trees I got bit on in practice. And I went to those trees, and they had left those trees. Go figure. And I caught 2 more fish sight fishing. I had like 18 pounds, or I had 17, 15, 18 pounds. At 12 o'clock, I'm like, shoot, I'm chilling. I'm going to go practice the rest of the day. If I catch one in coal, great. If I don't, is what it is. I've got a good bag. And got there, I was like boat 8 the first day, weighed in 18 pounds. Like the first 20 people that weighed in, so I had 18 pounds. And like I said, I was like 10th to weigh in. I was in like 6th place. I was like, this is. I'm like, there's 10 people that have weighed in. I weighed 18 pounds. I'm in 6th. Something happened. Sure, I was in like 69th or 67th with 18 pounds. I was like, oh my God, what happened? But yeah, the second day I went back and forth down that strip that I caught the 1 almost 5 and the 6 on. I had almost 25 pounds, 24 something. It was dumb. But yeah. It's it's crazy how things transition
especially that time of year. I mean, everybody talks about spawn being so great, but it's just so feast or famine because they either go to the bank or they don't. You know,
Right. I'm a much bigger fan of set up summer patterns or pre-spawn. I think they're a little
go nowhere for a long stretch of time.
Yeah,
I love spawn, but it seems like the hard part about the spawn is if you've got 2 days of practice or a day of practice before a tournament, it's not bad. But when you go out there for 3-4 days, your head starts messing with you because you'll find some really good stuff going on day 1 that's not going to be good for day 5. So you might as well stick everything that bites, honestly.
Yeah.
And then, and then going through, it's, weather conditions always change during the spring. It's like,
oh yeah,
we end up always getting a cold front. It doesn't matter where we go. Like we've been out west, we've been, north, south, everywhere. If it's during spawning time, you are almost guaranteed to have like completely different conditions every day of the week.
Yep. Without a doubt.
It's just always chasing moving fish.
Always. What was it? 2 years ago, every opening tournament day was a cold front for like 6 tournaments in a row.
Yeah,
I swear.
I felt like that was this year too.
Yeah, that's true.
Okeechobee was, Ouachita was.
God, you want to talk about miserable at practice at a Ouachita 20
Oh, dude.
Oh my God. It was like
That was
I'm
the
from the
first
north,
practice.
and I went home early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't feel anything, man.
That was the first time
in the spring again. It's probably still going to be cold.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah, that was the first time that I've ever like been mentally broken in practice, like day 2.
Yep.
I was just like, I looked at Rick that day when we were out there. It was like 34 degrees and raining, and I looked at Rick and I'm like, Rick, how you doing back there? And he goes, I'm ready to go when you're ready. He's like, I'll stay out as long as you need to, but I'm ready to go. I said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
My buddy Paul that I travel with, I kind of went over to under this big pine tree, like up on shore, standing in front of my boat trying to eat a peanut butter sandwich. It's like 1 o'clock. I mean, I'm shivering like a dog shitting razor blades, right? And my buddy calls me. He's like, dude, I can't handle this anymore. I'm going back to the house, take a shower. And my reply was, oh, thank God. I'll see you at the boat ramp in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't going to be the first one to do it, but I'll definitely join you.
Mm-hmm. Those weeks are the weeks you realize why they charge so much money for rain gear, because when you are out there on the water that day, you will spend $1,000 just to not feel like you feel at that point in time. Because
it was after that, because I think I had my old rain gear then. It was after that I bought new rain gear from Chris, and he bought it.
Yep. I'm telling you, it's when you fish in 30 degrees and it's raining, or 40 degrees and it's raining. Oh my God. If you are wet, you are miserable, shivering. Oh,
and I mean, I've fished plenty of times up here where the line will freeze to the guides, but if you're not wet, it's a lot easier to maintain. I mean, I was outside most of the day today, in and out, with different projects. And I mean, it was 16 with a real feel of 9 this morning, and it got to 25 degrees, but it was a real feel of like 18. And it wasn't, I mean, I didn't even have a coat on. Like, you layer up. I got long underwear, t-shirt, 2 sweatshirts, a vest, long underwear, fleece lined pants.
No, thank you.
1 pair of socks.
No, thank you.
We set trusses on a car wash 2 weeks ago. Let's see. Yeah, it'd be 2 weeks ago tomorrow, right? 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago tomorrow, we set trusses on a car wash. The Thursday, it was 15 to 18 below with the wind chill. So I'm like, all right, like, we're far enough ahead. You guys don't have to work tomorrow. Like, we'll take the day off. Like, we're gonna kill it on Friday though. Got the crane there at 8 o'clock. It was still -1 8 o'clock Friday morning. We set trusses. My crane operator rolls up. He's like, "Don't you think it's a little cold? Because usually they don't like to go below 5 degrees. It's too hard on the hydraulics." He's like, "Well, we'll see what we can do." Yeah, so 2 hours, icicles hanging off my mustache. But I was moving. I had my tool belt down. I was running around moving. So I mean, I was warm. I was fine.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
See, our real feel goes the other way. Like you guys are talking about being less. Ours is the other way. When it says 95, it really means 110.
Yeah.
See, and I can't do that, man. I've come down there a couple times in February like that when it's been hot in Florida.
February, you gotta come in August.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's when it makes a real man out of you.
Mm-hmm. When every bit of clothing is sopping wet all the way down to your boxers, and when you've got sweat running down to your toes from your back to your knees, you know that you've got issues.
Especially if you're fishing around hydrilla and you got hydrilla.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no wind.
No
wind.
Oh yeah, that's when you can't breathe unless you have a buff. Yeah, you can't breathe unless you have a buff because you're just breathing in hydrilla gnats. Oh my gosh, that's oh yeah, woohoo!
It's the old Toho special.
Oh yeah, exactly.
No, I'm good. I'll take the cold because it kills off a lot of the bugs and everything poisonous. And
yeah, y'all ain't got nothing to worry about up there, as far as pests go. But
nothing. We don't have tarantulas. We don't have deadly spiders. We don't have scorpions. We don't have poisonous snakes. We don't. Well, I mean, we got some rattlers and some water.
Yeah, bears.
Yeah. Everything.
Okay, I can handle that. I can handle a bear.
Yeah, we got all the good stuff that wants to kill you.
Right. So, plans for 2025?
Well,
not where we're going. That's
Chris,
for
you going
sure.
first?
I don't know. Plans? Make the top 50 in points to start, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah.
But
And you're signed up for Division 1, right?
Yeah. So the Eastern swing, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna fish the Easterns and then probably the Southern Toyotas. But
I have not signed up for them, but I was considering the same.
Yeah.
What's on the docket for the Southern Toyotas?
It's Harris Chain, Okeechobee, Harris Chain, Seminole. So it's like, it's all balanced.
No, once you've been traveling all over the country, it's like, oh man, I could drive those in a day.
Yeah.
Like fish the tournament and drive home that night.
Yeah. Right. Furthest one is Seminole, and it's like 5 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah. Still not big deal.
Yeah. But Seminole's on the way home from
Tom Bigby.
Yeah, Tom Bigby.
So it's only like a 5-hour ride or 4-hour ride from Tom Bigby.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go.
In Mississippi.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm jumping into Division 2, and then I'm going to do for the Bass Nation stuff. We're going to do the James River in Virginia and potentially Lake Erie, which just basically go to St. Clair.
So I wanted to do the James, but it turns out we had other travel plans for that week. So I'm probably going to do Pickwick. I've considered the idea Eufaula just because I don't really want to drive my boat all the way out there for a nation event. But if I could find something else to fish within a week of that, I may sign up for both.
Sure.
You follow Oklahoma or Alabama?
Oklahoma.
But it's in May.
That place.
Is it May or late April?
One of those two. I don't remember.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was better than June.
Yeah, it wasn't the third week of June when you have the sweat down the back of your toes.
No.
Maybe. I don't know. You were there. Bobby was there during the invitationals the one year around that time.
They were spawning.
Is that the one that Kelly Jordan won?
Yes.
I fished on the chatterbait.
Yep. That was the year that you said there was a cold front every day. That I learned a valuable spawn lesson in that series because we fished our first. So I fished the invitationals. There's 6 events. So I think the first 3, it was Okeechobee. I don't remember where the other 2 were, but it was Eufaula and then 1 or 2 more. And every single one. Clarksville.
Ozarks.
Yeah, no. It was Okeechobee, Clarks Hill, Eufaula, and then Ozarks was the 4th one. Well, the first 3, I was on pre-spawners, and they went to spawn in the tournament, and I was still. I mean, I know it was only a year and a half ago, but I was inexperienced, young and dumb. I've learned a lot in that span of time. That you have to adapt once the tournament comes around. And I was on them here in practice, so I just went and fished that, and they all went to the bank. And it happened 3 times in a row, and then the 4th one was Ozarks. I was like, I know they will be spawning. I am not going to look for pre-spawners. I'm only going to look for spawners and fish for spawners, and I did, and I cast a check on that one. But that was one of them valuable lesson ones.
It's the best way to learn the hard way, unfortunately, because they stick forever.
especially in the invitationals when you're
Yeah.
dropping $5,000 a tournament and entry fees. Gosh, man, you want to talk about learning a lesson? That one was hurting. That one
I
was
bet.
hurting.
Yeah. When is it?
You follow Oklahoma is April 9th to 11th.
Oh crap! It's early April.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
saying I thought it was like spawn.
Yeah, it'll be spawning.
Yeah, because Pickwick is March 12 to 14. Lake Eufaula is April 9th through 11th. James Rivers, April 23, 25. Erie's July 16 to 18. And the Upper Mississippi River for the championship is October 22 to 25.
That sounds
What,
like
Bobby?
cold.
Dude, no, not really. I mean,
Oh
it's
wait,
gonna
we
be
were,
a
were
sweater
we just there in October?
No, we were
September.
early September.
What are we talking about? Bass Nation. I
Bass-
know the little ones around the house, but I don't know.
No, it's
Oh, the
the
qualifiers.
qualifiers. They've got instead of regionals now they do qualifiers. So when you make it at state, you go straight to nationals now. If you're on the state team, and so it used to be where you went to a regional and then you went to nationals. So now they opened those up as like an open tournament, pretty much. You just have to be a Bassmaster member, and they sign you up as an at-large member for your state, basically. And so they've got 4 of them, and if you finish in the top 20 in one of them, you go straight to Bass Nation Nationals.
That's how he made it this last year, the championship, because he
Yeah.
qualified through Mississippi.
I think almost all the opens guys that fished those actually made it on their first try for the most part.
Yeah,
The-
I think
a
so.
lot of it.
The ones that are the closest is the Potomac and Eufaula, Oklahoma. Are you kidding me?
No, well, James River and Pickwick are the
Yeah.
2 closest to us.
Yeah, but that championship you want to talk about, Bobby, your jerk bait
Oh, buddy.
in October. You think it was good when you were there in the Mississippi River in October? You better not put it down.
I had a bass blast the last time I was there. When
Yeah.
were we there? We were there later than that, September.
Early September, first week of
Yeah,
September.
early September.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the toughest time to be there. In my
First day
opinion.
of the tournament was September 11th, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah.
No, because that's my birthday, so I would have known. No, it was a couple days after that. So like my birthday was during practice, I think.
September
Yeah,
12th.
we went
September
to-
12th was the first
Yeah.
day of the tournament.
We had them cheese curds.
Yep.
Damn.
We went to the cheese curd place
That
for.
place was fire.
Yes.
Yeah, that changed my life as far as cheese curds went.
I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah,
Those
Cheese
were some
curds.
cheese curds. Those were
cheese
some cheese
curds
curds.
that were this big, like big cubes. I mean,
Yeah.
big. Oh man, they had all kinds of different
Yeah.
flavors.
I can never have a Culver's cheese curd again after that.
Oh no.
Culver's-
Straight out of the microwave package? No.
They're not really cheese curds.
No, it was.
I'm aware now.
You want to talk about?
I mean, I've had the gas station ones up in New York and all that stuff, and those are good. But
Yeah.
those ones that we had at that restaurant,
Those were insane.
I don't think I ever have to get another one again until we go to somewhere like that.
Yeah, those were fire.
Those were like full bricks of cheese.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, pepper
I'm
jack
just
and
For you, it's terrible for you, but they were amazing. You know?
Yeah, you're not moving for a week, but
Yeah. I'm not in it.
yeah.
I'm not in
We
it for the clubs. I'm in it for the taste.
we ate there twice that week.
yeah. You didn't have to throw that out there, Chris, but yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that jerk bait bite, spook bite, square bill on a wing dam.
Big fan.
Yeah, that gets that really gets to going then.
Mhm. Dang. I couldn't believe I caught that 5-pound smallie doing that. I didn't even know they got that big in that place.
I had one in practice on a spot that I've driven by on pool. I practice mainly in pool 9. I've driven by it 1,000 times, and for whatever reason, I decided to stop and practice. And I was on a spook down this big barge wall, right? And I'm like that, and I actually wasn't even paying attention to what I was doing. It actually had drifted past me. It was like middle of the boat when he hit it, and it was somewhere like pushing 6. It's the biggest one I think I've ever seen out there. And he knocked it out of the water, and I was reeling as fast as I could. The third time he tried to get it, he almost pinned it to the side of the boat. I'm like, I gotta get it. Like I saw him.
Stupid one.
I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like trying to get it away from him, so I don't want to hook that one. Of
Yeah.
course, I go back there day 1 of the tournament. I make one stop there. I'm like, all right, we're gonna fish this 100-yard stretch. First, there's a local couple fishing walleyes in this little tin boat, and I come up. I'm about 75 yards behind him, and the guy says, "Hey, do you you fishing through here? And I said, yeah. I said, you're fine. I said, I'm back here. You're good. I really appreciate it. He's like, well, I'll get out of your way. I'm like, no, you're fine. Stay where you're at. No, we'll move out so you can move up. I said, all right, thank you. So I pull up there. First catch a 3-pound largemouth. I'm like, they're still here. Never caught another one in 3 days of trying that. Yeah. First cast, and they're all cheering for me and stuff. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, and that was over 19 feet of water on a spook. It was crazy.
That's wild.
Stupid largemouth.
Yep.
They always get deep.
But yeah, that that tournament didn't go near as well as I was hoping it would. And I mean, I saw over 18 pounds a day for 3 days in practice doing 8 different things on pool 9. On some history and some just new stuff.
Yeah.
One day I saw over 20 for sure. And I'm like, yeah. And of course, day one, I didn't get down there till 10:30. And I was throwing a Carolina rig on a shell bed in about 1.5 foot of water. I'm bombing out there, like 5 casts. I'm like, well, that's weird. Like, I should have got bit. I looked down. I'm like, well, I'm only like 15 feet off my waypoint. Maybe I'm not. I was staying off of them. I move up like a boat length, power pull down. The next 8 casts in a row, I caught one. And I did the second day too when I got there, but they were 2-pounders, 2.5 pounders the second day.
Yeah.
Which I had a 3.5 and a 3 3/4 the first day.
Yeah. It's amazing how that always amazed me when we go north. Like just the weights are so stacked on top of each other. Like it's literally the difference between a 2.5 to a 2 3/4, or 2 3/4 to a 3-pounder. But yeah, that first day, I had the bites in that tournament in the top 10, but the first day I had 2 3-pound smallmouth on one jerkbait, and they straightened every single. I showed my jerkbait up to the camera, which of course you can't see it very well, but like all 3 of my hooks were at 90-degree angles on my jerkbait. They straightened every single one of them. It was like, if I catch those 2 fish, I had 15 the first day and I had 17 the second day, I make the final day. But I've never hooked 2 smallies on one bait before, and gosh, man, I hope I don't ever do it again, because I don't know how you land them. They fight so hard, you don't really think about it, but them pulling opposite directions as they do. Oh gosh, it's just a recipe for disaster. I don't care what hooks you're using.
Probably like a hook hanger.
Once upon a time on a square bill, I did that up northern Wisconsin. I had 2 giant smallmouth. The one I got in the boat was just over 5, and I think the other one was as big, if not slightly bigger. And he broke the back treble hook off. Like the 2 he had, he broke them right off. Because the same thing, they were fighting each other.
Yeah, I never dealt with that before. I've caught plenty of largemouth too on one spook and stuff like that, but never smallies, and now I know why.
Yeah, those things are they're definitely different. So,
Yeah.
What with 44 Tackle, Chris? How long have you had the shop?
So we've been in business since 2015.
Okay.
And we've moved 3 times in that period of time.
Oh wow.
That must be fun.
Yeah, one was on purpose. The second one wasn't on purpose. We had a minor bait tank thing that turned into a blessing in disguise, which is our final landing place of where we're at now. So we started it on Highway 44 in Inverness. That's where the 44 comes from.
Okay. All right. I was curious where that came
Originally,
from.
fun fact, I came from an e-commerce background, and my whole plan to open a store was actually to have an online store and not have a brick and mortar at all. But as it turns out, nobody will sell to you in the fishing industry unless you have a brick and mortar store to try to protect from people eBaying and all of the above. And, they wanted to protect the dealer network. And I can understand that now. I didn't really understand it back then, but now I really do understand it. But the blessing in disguise of that is now we've got a 7,500 square foot shop with a nice big showroom and lots of product that we've really worked hard to build over the years. We started in a 1,900 square foot shop and learned quickly a lot of lessons. I did get to fast track a lot of things. I had some good people that we brought in right off the bat that really cut the learning curve and helped out a lot. And so, I got a lot of accounts set up with some really good vendors right off the bat without having to search far for them. and we built up some history with them really quickly. And I'd like to say one of them is a really good reason why we're still in business, because they've helped us out. And there's every business owner, like we look like this. I joke about it all the time with Bobby and Tyler and a couple of other people, and you guys. I like to say our smoke and mirrors is really good, because people think that we're this huge company, and really, we're 3-4 of us that work there, and that really make it all go round. And it's a family business, and everybody that we've got involved is kind of our family, and that's the way we want to keep it. And I think that's what keeps us finding people like you guys and Bobby and Tyler and Harvey, and we've got a really good group that we surround ourselves with. And I think it's because everybody that is involved really understands what it's like to be part of a family, and because they all grew up that way, and they grew up in hardworking families and stuff like that. And so that's what we look for, I think, going forward. And it's really been the structure that keeps us going every day. So we've had good days and bad days like everybody else. Nobody usually gets to hear about the bad days, but they just think that we just made it to where we're at. Just made it there. They didn't get to see the 9 years it took us to get there.
Abracadabra, and here we are.
Yep, here we are. This big thing. But we started out with $25,000 in inventory, and thought that was going to do it, and found out really quickly we needed more.
Yeah.
And even still today, we've got 18,000 pegs of product, individual pegs on our wall of product.
Wow.
And I'll still get told every day that we're out of the one thing that somebody needs. So you learn you can't make anybody happy. So, but no, we pride ourselves on our customer service, and that's something that we've started since day one. And we've got a 4.9 or 4.8 on Google out of 5. And I think we've got probably over, trying to think about the transactions, but probably to the tune of 60,000 transactions in 9 years. For our little store. And believe it or not, I get asked all the time, "Oh, your online business must be really killing it." And honestly, it's only 10% of our business.
I was just going to ask you what that was.
About 90% of our business is actually walk-in traffic in store, and that's live bait and tackle and the full gamut apparel, LAFCO apparel. And we've got just about anything you can. Basically, one of my first, I'd say, pros that ever walked in our store, I remember it pretty good, was JT Kenny stopped by, and I was like freaked out. I wasn't at the shop at the time, and my buddy that was there he was watching the shop for me at that moment, small little store. And he goes, "Hey, JT Kenny just pulled in." And I went, "Don't let him leave. I'll be there. I'll be right back." And so I got there and talked to him for a little bit, and he's like, it's a small store, but if you can't catch a fish in Florida with what you got on the walls here, it doesn't make any sense to me. And you can tell people that they need to go find a better store, because you've got everything you need to catch a fish in Florida. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of those things that we started with. And, you can look at like Tackle Warehouse, and you can look at Tackle Direct or Fish USA, or people that have, got a lot more infrastructure than we do, and a lot more time in the game. But we really listen to our customers every time they walk in the door, and really I've come to terms with figuring out which customer is a little bit more serious than the other about what they're looking for and what the trends are. It used to be, back in the day, it was actually pretty easy our first couple years in, because we had things like Major League Fishing, like the original Major League Fishing show, and all of those post-production shows back in the day really honed in on what people were doing with the baits and teaching people how to use the baits. And you knew that, like, as a store owner, if you weren't watching TV 100% of the time and staying up to date exactly with what was going on, on those episodes week to week, you were behind the 8 ball. They were basically giving you the cheat code to like 2 weeks from now what your sales were going to look like.
Sure.
And so like I'll never forget it. Randy Howell had a spot on and it's really cool to be able to know Randy now and Laker, you know, Laker more than Randy, but we see Laker all the time these days. It's really cool to actually know them in person. You know, 10 years ago, it's like, oh man, I'd love to meet that guy. And now it's like, you know, first name basis with all these guys. But to be able to watch him on Major League Fishing, it was a special part of the episode where they showed him tying on a Livingston Walking Boss 2. And if you've never seen that bait, it basically looks like a jitterbug and a spook had a baby.
Yep.
It's a jointed jitterbug basically. And so he took that thing and him knowing what he knew at that time, he was tying that bait on because he knew there was a school of fish right in front of him that would have ate a hot dog if he had thrown it there. But he tied that bait on, told everybody on the camera took 30 seconds out of his day to tell everybody on camera exactly what that bait was about to do and how easy it was to catch a fish. And his first cast, he bombs this cast out there in the middle of school, makes 3 cranks on it, and a 3-pounder smokes it with 2 more chasing. And he reels that fish in, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to have that bait. And so I bought 25 of them, I think, that day to bring in the store. I sold every one of those baits in the first 3 days they were there. And it was like, and I guarantee you there's not one person that bought that bait that still throws it today.
Yeah. I know a guy that throws one of them things, actually.
I have 5 dozen, 6 dozen of the original 6XDs. Kevin Van Dam winning on Kentucky Lever. What's his face winning with the Jerky J at Kentucky Lake?
Lambert.
Yeah, I have the tremor heads, and I've never caught a fish on them, but I've got 200 packages of Jerky J's.
Yep.
I go a little overboard sometimes. Most of the time.
But that's what used to happen back then. And now with all the live coverage and stuff like that, I would say that's like one of the indicators that has killed the tackle sales for like general retailers. And that was the edge we had back then over online retailers that were only online retailers or heavily, focused online, like the tackle warehouses of the world. Basically because, they're the superstore, right? They've got everything. Like there's no way as a tackle store owner, you could come into the business and say, I'm going to compete with them. They've got, 20 years in the business. They've got a huge inventory. They've got, 2 warehouses, big employees, the whole deal. So to think that you're going to make a dent in their business, it's just delusional. But and I still order there. Everybody jokes. They come in the store. They're like, "Oh, your competitors." It's like, man, I order from Bass. I go to Bass Pro. I go to here. I go to there. We're all over the country. I make a point every place we go to the local tackle shop because I want to, 1, support other local tackle stores, and 2, you never know what you're going to find or the way they do business. And for me, it's a fact-finding mission almost to see how they survive and make their stuff work, because I can learn off of things from companies that have been in business way longer than I'll ever dream to be. So that's just something I look at when we go out of town, that it's a good experience for me to go travel and see what other people are doing that works for them, that I can incorporate to make it, feel like home to somebody that travels from Wisconsin. Actually, funny enough, I forgot to grab his name. There's a guy that came into the store the other day that was down from Wisconsin that fishes with you, or fishes local derbies with you guys.
With me?
Yeah, he name dropped you. So he's like, "Oh, Brian Post." He's like, "I was with it." He's like, "I was over here fishing." He said, "I was fishing the Harris chain and was getting ready to head back to my parents over on 19." And he said, I remembered, he's like, I was looking for a tackle store nearby and I saw it pop up on Google. And I was like, wait a second, I know Brian Post. He's got that big 44 on the side of his boat. He's like, I fish local derbies with him all the time and see him all the time. He's like, I didn't realize I was that close to your store. I needed to stop by.
That's awesome.
And so
That's crazy.
he can't, but it's funny. Like you don't realize that kind of stuff happens, but that's how you know your advertising's working, and
Yeah, definitely.
and stuff's happening. And that's where I was saying earlier with our smoke and mirrors are too good sometimes, because we get these guys that send us sponsor, like they'll see somebody like Tyler or Bobby win, and then all of a sudden my sponsor applications start flying through the emails, and they're like, oh, if that guy, that's what happened when we had Matt Robertson back in the day. When we first signed with Matt to make a big splash, we ended up getting like, I must have had probably 6 Elite Series guys that heard that we had signed Matt, and 2 of them, I would say, came in right out the gate on their interview saying, well, if you think Matt does a great job, I'm going to do 3 times the work Matt does. And it's like, all right, let's pump the brakes here. You're I don't want to say it this way, but you're a professional fisherman. He's an influencer. There are professionals that just, fishing is their game.
Yep.
And then there's influencers that really move the needle. Like if somebody makes a post, that you've got people that are good at winning, and you've got guys that are good at influencing people's decision-making. Yeah. And you have to decide which angle you're going to go, because there's very few people that can do both. You've got Brian Thrifts out there that can do both. You've got Kevin Van Dams that can do both. But there's very few that fit that mold. And I think that's what it takes to be successful, is to really have that full circle of things, and really, understand that you come off stage, you talk to a kid for 30 minutes. It doesn't matter what you've got going on or what's more important to you. That 30 minutes with that kid, you never know who that kid's going to be tomorrow, because you spent that 30 minutes with that kid. And that's the difference. And, that's, I would say, almost every person we have on our pro staff is that person. So,
Right.
It's funny you say that, because he has one. Actually, it was his first year fishing the Opens. It was Sam Rayburn. That was when it was top 12, not top 10. He made the top 12. And to this day, now the kid is, how old is Brian?
13.
Now so he's 12, 13. And so since 2020, he's been his biggest fan. And it was because he came up, the first person asked him for an autograph. He stood there.
I'm not sure who was more excited, you or that kid.
He was
so excited.
He was so excited to have somebody ask for his autograph. But we've only seen him a handful of times in person. He's just ecstatic for us to come to Rayburn in a month and a half.
He texts me probably once a week or every 2 weeks, and then his dad would be like, I'm really sorry he's bothering you. I'm like, no, not at all. I'm like, I'm texting with him back.
But he has watched every one of our episodes, so now he will hear his name today.
Yeah,
Brian, he's amazing.
Yeah. On the reverse side of that, I've made 2 top 10s or top third days. The other one was on the James River, right? So I think I finished 8th. I went in 9th. I actually moved up a spot. I finished 8th. Got done the Basscast, did an interview with them, and everybody's just kind of mingling around after checks and visiting and shaking hands. And this sweet little girl in a sundress comes up. She's like 6, maybe. She's got her little brother in tow who's like 3. She goes, she's got a marker and a piece of paper or a hat. She goes, excuse me, sir. And I said, yeah, sweetie. I said, how are you? She goes, did you finish 3rd? And I said, no, sorry, kiddo. I said, I finished 8th. And she goes, oh. Turns around and walks away. I was laughing so hard. She's like, just like all the excitement and joy just left her face. She's like, oh, like
yeah. Oh, you're not first, you're last.
Make the top 10 or anything.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about anything but the top 3.
Yeah. If you ain't first,
I was laughing. I was about in tears, because she was just so serious that she was dead set on number 2. And I said, I'm sorry, honey. I said I finished 8th. Oh, wait, she left. It was hilarious. Yeah. So those are my two top 10, my top 10 fan interactions.
They were doing that at Martin, and I tell you what, I suck at signing. I got to get that down to an art.
The hats at the shop.
I type, I don't write anymore.
No, it's not just like a fluent motion. Okay, I do the cursive like I was taught in 3rd grade. Okay.
They taught you cursive. That's good.
Yeah, like it it looks like my name, but it does not get achieved quickly. Okay. And like, I'm honestly like a little bit terrified of being at the Classic, because like all these kids and everything are being like, oh my God, he's a Bassmaster Classic guy, and I am.
Oh, dude, I am gonna buy.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's-
and I'm just some dude that got lucky and won a tournament, and I'm gonna have to get my hands gonna be cramping up over here. Yeah.
I'm gonna buy every 44 tackle something hat I can find. Give them to every kid in the crowd. Get that guy's signature. Get that guy's signature.
I had to sign. I was at the store the other day, and he had a cluster of them, and I had to sign 15 of them. Dude, at the end of it, my hand, I was like trying to figure out how I wanted to sign it, if I wanted to, and all this stuff. By the end of it, my hand was like.
There's no two of the same signature on those hats.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I would work the Classic last year with John Sokup at his booth, and then there's guys in and out and different things. Of course, John knows everybody, and I've gotten to know quite a few people. And every once in a while, somebody asks for my signature. I'm like, everybody else, like every other pro, like, oh yeah, they got like 3 different color Sharpies. Now I didn't come with a single one. I'm like,
yep, that was me.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, can I borrow your marker?
Yeah.
So,
I worked the Yamaha PowerPay booth at the Classic this year, and they do the big, like if you're on Team Yamaha or Skeeter, I guess I get to be on the big table this year. But the last year I was at the PowerPay booth, and so they're doing the signing thing where all the pros go up at the table and they hand them all T-shirts and everybody signs the shirts in a big line. And those guys wait till you got to do something like that, Bobby. You've got like those guys. I watched them go an hour straight. Like it was a solid hour of nothing but shirts, just nonstop. But the PowerPay booth was right. It's right at the end of that line. Well, wearing a jersey and something, what would happen is most people would just like keep on walking. They're like, oh, he's here to sell me something. He's probably here to like take my information to sell me a motor. So they just try to like skirt by. And what would end up happening is there'd be like one kid that would like get discouraged about the long line to go everybody else. And so he'd have the shirt waiting in line and be like, I'm going to go over to this guy and get a signature. And so I would start signing. Next thing I know, I'd look up after the first signature and there's like 15 people in line to get my signature. And I'm like, okay. I had to borrow a Sharpie from Teb Jones because Teb's got like 16 in his pocket at all time, Mr. Overprepared. But
perfect.
There you go. Yeah, we're actually traveling with Teb Stanley this year.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh man, they're awesome people.
Yeah.
I told him one condition: I get to go fast in your boat. I don't need to drive it, but I want to go fast. In your
he'll
boat.
make you scream like a little girl in that boat.
I'm in. So
yeah.
Is that the same boat that he's had for 4 or 5 years? Or does he get the exact same boat every year?
I think he gets the same exact boat every 2 years.
Every 2 years, okay.
Yeah. But
he
that guy passed me at.
We'll do 85. Yeah.
Yeah. He passed me with I thought we were doing good. We were doing like 71. And he comes screaming by me. We were talking at the lock going into Griffin. He's like, Horning was like, yeah, we were doing 84. I'm like, yeah, you were cooking, dude. Because I saw it was a blur go past us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a guy, I'll name drop, Steve Bishop, okay? He is one of the river rats. So St. John's River,
it's crazy.
Big old river in Florida. And all the guys that are, all the locals on the local rivers everywhere, they call him river rats. So he's one of the river rats. He has a bullet, okay? And he was always the guy that, like flashed it and everything and had it all spiffy and whatnot. But he went overboard, okay? And he got a 450 and put it on his 20 or 21 foot bullet. I don't know what it is.
It's a 21.
Okay. Well, that son of a gun, I mean, the boat's sitting in the water just like this. I tell you, and I kid you not, that boat will go 100 at like 3/4 throttle. Like it's not, it's literally, it will go as fast as you're willing to drive it. I think he's hit like 118 on it or something like that. It's crazy.
Wild.
And like, so I fished tournaments against him. And like, you blast off in the dark, all right? And it doesn't matter if he's boat one or not. You might as well just give him boat one.
Right.
I've been with my buddy in a 721 Phoenix, and we're going like mid to high 70s. Like we're rolling for a bass boat. All you see is the anchor light just going and just disappear. I mean, it is insane. You don't even see the boat. It's just gone. And he usually not saying it, but a lot of times runs to a popka because a lot of the shallow guys do. But I mean, he's always the first one there. It is insane how fast that boat is. And that I don't have any desire to go 100.
Oh, I'm in.
No,
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
no. You can have it. Now, if there was anybody to do it, would be him, because of course he's
he can drive it.
Oh yeah. But oh my God, I'll never. It's comical how literally you just watch the anchor light just disappear and just keep going. It's like you know which one's which because it just leaves.
Everybody just goes left to right and then straight, so he can go right up the middle.
Just get in the line, and he'll go on the outside and just disappear.
The first time I ever met Teb, actually, I didn't even meet him that time. The first time I ever found out about Teb was the first Open I ever fished as a co-angler in 2015. And it was at Toho. And day 2, I ended up drawing the guy that was sitting in 3rd place. And he had a Ranger. And we were boat like 36 that day. And he's like, man, we're going to Kissimmee. He's like, at first he was talking about how he was going to stop in Toho first at something. And then he like, while we're sitting there at launch, he's like, no, screw it. We're going to Kissimmee. He's like, I got to get to those fish. And so we take off in the fog and everybody's in a single file line heading to the lock at Toho. And all you could see is rooster tail. Like all I could see in front of the boat was the nav light of the boat in front of us and the rooster tail hitting right in front of the nose of our boat. And we are flying. Well, he passes 3 boats in the fog on the way to the lock. And we are just hauling. We get down there, get to the lock. We made it for the first lock cycle at boat 36. And yeah, and that was the year that the lock master got in trouble for putting 20 boats in there.
I was in that lock. It got stuck
Yeah.
open. That was very, very, very sketchy.
Yeah, there was like, I think it was 19 or 20 boats they fit in there. It was not good. And what was it? What was his name? Shea Baker took that drone shot that got him in trouble. But they we're getting down there, we're waiting for the lock to open, and my boater, now I know this person in real life, but back then I didn't know anybody, and my boater got in a verbal altercation, and this was the year after Keith Poche and Ish Monroe got into it in that same lock. Ironically, my boater got in a verbal altercation and welcomed the other person on the deck of his boat, if he so desired. And Bobby's gonna laugh when I say who this was. The person that I guess was not happy with my boater was Jesse Tacarane.
Oh yeah.
And my boater was freshly out of the military and was more than welcome to invite him onto the deck of his boat that day. And Jesse decided to go get back in line with the rest of everybody. But it was an interesting day. So we get down the lock and we're locked at this is like I said, my first open, second day of ever fishing an open as a co-angler. And I'm sitting in the lock, and in the lock we're there with, we got Gerald Swindle in the front of the lock and Wesley Strader in the back of the lock. And those two, it was like getting front row seats at a comedy show between the two of them bickering at each other in the lock. And, Swindle's pretending that he's Moses, like opening the gates. And it's like, it was a riot. So we get out and we're like 7th boat in line getting out. And we're going flying down the canal. And we get all the way into Cyprus, and we pass 2 boats in the first canal. On the way down. It is sketchy. So the second canal, and Swindle's leading the way, and so he is hauling. That dude's got one speed, and that's go. And so we get up, and we've now got into Cyprus, and we go into the next set, going to Hatch, and I'd say we pass another boat in that section of canal, which was already sketchy. As soon as we come around that boat, this boat comes passing us like we are sitting still, and it's Teb and that Allison just screaming. Meanwhile, I'm like holding on for dear life because that's the fastest I've ever been in a boat before. And I'm sitting there just freaking out, going 70 plus mile an hour in a Ranger back when they could do that.
Right,
And
right.
and so I'm like freaking out, and this boat passes us like we're sitting still. And I look over at him, and I look back, and I'm like, how fast was he going? And I tell Teb this story every now and then, and we laugh about it all the time. But it's funny how like day one of a tournament, you see all these guys, and then you're 10 years into doing this or 8 years in doing it, and you're looking around like there's some of your best friends that you've ever met.
Yep.
And
it's crazy. I've only been doing it for since 2020, and the people that I've met all across the country, it's amazing.
Yep,
absolutely love it. It's honestly one of the highlights of it for sure.
No doubt.
What about the big win, Bobby? Has that brought anybody knocking on your doorstep? Potential sponsors, deals?
Honestly, nah. I mean,
The crazies?
not really. I'm very fortunate to have it, and it has helped me some. Yeah. But has my phone erupted? No. Like I didn't. It really opens your eyes, man, because I had one, and I'm not going to do it. But I had one phone call from it about like sponsorship wise, but no, I mean but friends and family, oh my God, dude, that was a crazy couple of days.
I bet it was.
It was just every time I opened my phone, I never realized that your notifications max out at a certain number, and it was like I don't even remember what the number was. I think it was like 99. It kept on stopping for like some of my notifications. It was crazy. God, it was.
Most people probably wouldn't get to that point to find out there's a max because
No. It was dumb, and it like we left straight from there, and so like a bunch of the guys that made the elites and stuff, they all went to Paul Mark's house. He was one of the guys that made the elites. He has a house on Lanier, and they were everybody that I knew that I had been bumping elbows with all year, that because I was always the bubble boy of being in the top 9 and stuff. They were all like, man, you should come, you should come. And I was like, man, they're like, we'll go catch big spots. And I was like, you know what? All right, let's do it. And I drove there afterwards. It was like 3 or 4 hours. It wasn't nothing crazy, but like after it was all said and done, there's a picture of me laying on the ground afterwards, just done, because like it was crazy to build, because I had what I had for a long time, but like the last 30 minutes a day I did upgrade twice, so that definitely helped. But I was leading on Bass Track for a long time, but there was a long lull, and like my camera guy started like asking me questions and stuff like what would it mean for you to win this tournament, and stuff like that. And I'm like, why are you asking me that?
Right.
Like it was like eating at me. I'm like, dude, and I told him one time, like, I want so bad to know what like, but
That's right.
Yeah.
and he's like, what do you think the ramification of that would be? I said, if you told me what Bass Track was, he's like, yeah. I said, I would get DQ'd and you'd probably be out of a job. So let's just not do that. He's
Let's
like,
just not go there.
He's like, noted, we won't be doing that. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, he kept like asking me questions and stuff. Like, what would it mean to you to make the Classic? And I'm like, why am I getting asked this right now? So, so I knew something was happening. And then I'll never forget, for as long as I live, I pulled into the idle zone at like 220 or something, was doing it 230. And I just felt wrong. Like I was in 10 minutes early because I was out of frogs to throw on my buzzbait. I threw the last one. I caught my last fish and it tore the frog off of it. And I was like, I'm out of baits. Like I could have rigged up something, put a crawl in there or something. But I was like, man, I have a good bag. I'm just gonna make sure I make it to the ram, and I made it in there. And Dakota eBears, I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to offend anybody, or I don't know if it was his mom or what, but it was somebody that was associated with Dakota eBear. She was wearing his jersey and his family was there and stuff. And she was, so I like threw my chip in, and then she was right there, and she was like, "Congratulations." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And
Yeah, what do you know?
then my wheels just started spinning. I pull up to the dock. Hollywood's first one I see, and he hands me a headphone. He's like, "Talk to Chris." And I'm like, Chris over here talking to me, and people start crowding around on the dock, and I'm like, "Chris, I gotta go." And he's like talking. I'm like, "Chris, I gotta go." And he's like, "Don't look at Bass Track." I'm like, I have to know. And then finally he's like, you're 2 pounds ahead on Bass Track. I lost it. And then after that, it was like, okay, I know I have a chance, but them son of a guns are sandbaggers. So I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, there's no way. There's no way. With my luck, there's no way.
Except Bobby was a sandbagger all year too.
Oh, hey, whoa.
Because we would see his Bass Track weights, and we would see his other stuff, and we had it down to the exact ounce of what we knew Bobby had when he came in.
Yeah,
and then he stopped doing Bass Track and really pissed us off.
Okay. I only do Bass Track if I'm doing good or doing okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like,
That's a lie. What about Santee? Day 2.
I didn't do that one. That one, I was trolling my family. I was like, I knew
he came back to the dock with the biggest smile on his face and asked. All he does, he asked me at Hollywood. He goes, "So did they catch him again today?" And we went, "Nope, not as good as yesterday." And he went, "Good." Okay. And we're like, "What do you got?" He goes, 23. And we're like, "Oh my god!" Turns out to be like 25.
I'm just putting this out there right now as honorary team mom, whatever I am. If
You and Rhonda, if
the two of you do not use Bass Track, now that I am not at a tournament where you are, and I don't know what's going on, my stress level sitting here is going to be through the roof, not knowing.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
I mean, no.
If I am not on Bass Track, things aren't going the way I want it to. So just
all right.
I've gotten to the point now, the way I usually do it is like if I don't have a limit, I don't put it on there.
I'm super superstitious. I am like one of the most superstitious people. Like, I haven't shaved in a couple days, and I just fished a tournament on New Year's a couple days ago, yesterday. And it was like, more of the story is I didn't have a fish in me and my buddy's limit, and he was giving me so much hell. And I'm like, I didn't shave, bro. That's what I didn't shave. I'm sorry. You know, that like I'm not gonna catch him. Is what it is. I was like, screw it. I'm not gonna shave for once, and I didn't shave and I didn't catch him. Like,
you didn't eat Frosted Flakes either, did you?
No, I didn't. See, exactly. You know, there's another one. But yeah, I'm super superstitious. So like I'm super anal. Like if I put in Bass Track, like 9 times out of 10, if I put in something in Bass Track, then from then on I don't catch jack. So
been there, done that.
So, but here's my downfall with the not putting it on until there's a limit. I would at least rather know that he's got a fish than have it be that I wait all day thinking this guy's come back in with nothing and then I got to deal with it. So
now,
knowing that he has a fish makes me feel better. It takes away my anxiety.
So I will say, like, if I pull up to my first spot and I catch one right on the first spot, I'll put it on there because usually it means that you'll get a little bit of camera attention if you're like quick to the roll. Or if you do the Kenta Kimura and fish the boat ramp every time, you're like that's what Grant Moxley told us was like the key to Kenta getting in every gallery was he is the first person he sees when he pulls away from the ramp. So you know, doing well for your sponsors. If you're not doing well, that's the play.
Yeah, there you go. The most fuel
fish the boat ramp for the first 30 minutes of the day, and we'll probably get in the gallery.
Right.
I told them a couple years ago, or was it last year at the Harris State when we finished up? On day 2, I come back to that hydrilla by the release area, kind of where we could fish out in front there. And he wasn't there. I didn't even stop. I just turned around and left. I saw him in the bag. I'm like, Kenta, I rolled up here and I said, you weren't fishing release fish. So I figured it wasn't happening. I said, I didn't even fish. I just left. Mm-hmm. He just laughed.
Oh. We got anything else? We've been on here for a long time.
It's almost past my bedtime.
It's past. They're an hour ahead of us.
Really? Yeah. What time is it?
It's 9:30 here.
Bobby's young. He's about what? Well, you made up for New Year's.
Bobby's like first to bed. Like I think I'm always like last to sleep in the house every
I am
every
too.
time.
I'm never.
I don't believe that.
Bobby's like, no.
I don't believe that. Now, I will be the last one to wake up. I will
I don't
be.
know about that either.
What do you mean? Oh, well.
I sleep in some days.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
I think that's why I'm last to bed, is because usually I like to get, I don't know. I'm not an early morning bite kind of person as it is. And so I usually like the idea in practice. The other thing is too, is you get half the field that goes in at like 3 or 4 o'clock because they've got it in their head that they're not going to find fish. They don't want to find fish in an hour slot that they're not going to be on the water during the tournament.
Yep.
And so for me, I do some of my best like work finding fish from 3 to sunset, because I've got a lot better opportunity to like put a rod in my hand and not have people like pulling on you. And, you can start trying things out without having as much pressure on you. And so I like the later part of the day better than the first part of the day.
Mm-hmm. Bro, I hate to keep bringing it up, but that's one thing I'm kind of excited for about the Classic is like there's 58 boats. Like that's
pretty sweet.
Right?
It's going to be so weird.
Like a club tournament.
I'm sure it'll be cutthroat as hell, but like 58 boats. That's just going to be so weird. Like, cause
the hardest part is going to be dealing with having spectators, like multiples.
Yeah.
Because there's guys that go down with it being such a small field like that. If nobody knows who you are, well, they're going to know who you are because you won an open.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
They're going to know who you are because you won an open. And that right there gives you a little bit more of an edge than somebody that's been on the Elite Series that qualified, 30th in points or something like that. But the side of that part is got to be probably the hardest part to get over, is figuring out how to navigate water with all those boats around you, or you going to pull into a spot and trying to decide if that's boats fishing or just one guy with a bunch of boats around them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that was a thing on Wheeler when we fished Wheeler last time, that, what was it? Matt Pangarak and Milliken had that issue where Milliken had posted the whole buzzard picture, and his social media guy had used Matt Pangarak in the background unknowingly, I guess, to sell that. And, there was the big thing that everybody went straight to social media calling Matt Pangarak the whole buzzard, when really it wasn't even that case. It was day one. He never stopped there because he thought there was 5 boats on it. What it turned out to be was it was Milliken, his camera boat, and 3 spectators.
Yeah.
And so he would have pulled in knowing that, but just the optics of it, it was hard for him to figure out if he should pull in or not because of where they were located on the bar that he was fishing.
I got you.
Yeah.
So that part mentally would be really tough, I think.
Well,
yeah, Milliken was an early flight. He was late. And he stopped there last minute and caught
Right.
a couple good ones. Yeah, and they come in day 2. Yep.
There's a bunch of standing timber on Roy Roberts, so maybe go up in there and hide from the spectator. But them spectator boats will run it with their eyes closed, probably.
Right. Yeah, because they're locals.
Yeah, 'cause
They've
they're
got all
all
their
from
back
there.
trails. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, maybe I can
idling
run that thing.
Be idling for a mile, and everybody just yo. Like, oh damn.
Just get in behind them and send it.
Yep.
I don't know about all that. I got a pretty boat now.
I heard you got a new boat.
Yeah.
Now we just got to get everything on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's bare bones right
I
now.
know Bobby and I have been freaking out this week about all that stuff.
So you have what? 2 weeks till you take off for practice?
2 weeks, and I've got a paperweight in my garage for a boat at the moment.
Mine at least has a trolling motor on it.
Yeah, my trolling motor's in my living room at the moment.
Yeah. So.
You guys got to get to work.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I was working all day planning on how I was going to attack it.
Yeah, Bobby's like, I got 2 weeks to get my boat wrapped, get my boat rigged, get tackle ready, get all this stuff ready. I said, Bobby, I've got to do all of that plus wrap 4 boats.
Yeah. One of them's mine.
And one of them's his. And one of them's mine.
Yeah.
I rigged
Well,
mine.
if we were closer, you'd be wrapping ours too.
I rigged mine last year. Right, I broke it in the first day of practice at Santee, and I rigged it. I think I did it in 17 hours.
Because we started the season with the old boat and had to
Right.
switch Like in a
'cause I had
week.
no graphs, no batteries, no wire harness, no nothing, no brackets, nothing. I had the boat motor, trailer, trolling motor, and power poles, and I rigged the whole thing in 17 hours myself. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
There was
fishing wires and
There was some redneck rigging going on, and you know it.
I did all right. I did all
I
right.
found a power wire.
Oh no, I had a whole harness. I ran through the whole thing, and I mean it held up the whole year. Never had electrical issue. Never anything of that issue. So but yeah, there was some redneck ingenuity. Some of the brackets that I've got multiple brackets. So the one for the dash I made out of 2 different ones and drilled some new holes and moved
I'll
stuff
say it
around.
again, redneck engineering.
That's right. That's right. It's gonna work. A little Minnesota chrome.
Bobby's gotten pretty good at it over the last couple of years.
If it can happen to me, it'll happen.
I've definitely heard that.
The icing on the cake was St. Clair, I think. First morning of the tournament.
Here we go.
The old battery terminal.
Yeah. I broke a brass bolt that because the lithium battery I was using had a brass bolt on it, and it wasn't even tightening it. My battery charger wasn't working right, so like I had an external charger on it, so I had to take the bolt out and put it on, and I went to take it off, and it freaking just broke. That brass is soft, so but it just broke off like nothing. 4:30 in the morning, the morning of the tournament on St. Clair, I am like,
I heard it happen. I heard him undoing it. I just heard a snap, and I went, "What was that?"
Yeah. Followed by
he just looks up and just shakes his head, like didn't even know what to say.
Because I mean, honestly, like I knew there was nobody that would have that thread bolt. You know what I'm saying? And then freaking Chris is like, I might have one. I'm like, Chris, shut up. There's no way. There's no way. He goes digging in the bed of his truck. He's like, try this one. Sure enough, that son of a gun fit perfectly. And I'm like, I could kiss you right now. Like,
Chris and I talked about that. I have 2 of them too.
Yeah.
The old batteries I used to run, I have them. I still have the correct pitch.
I've got this like double deep Plano box in the bed of my truck that's just got random bolts and terminal wires and like anything that I've ever dropped in a boat or like seen laying in a boat or laying in my garage somewhere has just gotten thrown in there because you just never know when there's something that you might need out of it.
Yeah, I've got every gauge wire and wire covers and connectors and crimpers and Ziploc bags full of miscellaneous. Usually I take a towel, dump it on the front, and I just dump it all out on the front deck, and then you can search through what you need. But I've got it somewhere. Just let me find it. I got it.
Didn't one of you have a dead truck battery at least?
That was Bobby.
That was also Bobby.
Yep.
Also Bobby.
Yep.
Chris had the jump starter. Oh no, I had a jumper cable on the first day. My jump starter was dead. It wasn't dead the rest of the time.
Dude, I'm telling you, if it can happen to me, it'll happen. Like the bowl, I broke down the first day of Okeechobee.
Oh, that was our day off though, too, at Leech, that your battery died, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Wasn't
got
that the wind day?
We went to start it up first thing in the morning, and he's freaking out. And then we got the text message like literally 5 minutes later.
We got it started, and then I'm like, all right, time to go. I walk inside to get like the last. I don't know what I was getting, but to get something, and Rick's like, it's canceled. I'm like, after all that, it's canceled. But,
You know what was bad though? He didn't plan on going and getting a new battery with our off day.
I don't know about all that.
Shame on you. That's why redneck ingenuity can only save you so much if you don't take care of yourself.
If it would have worked, then I wouldn't have. But like, so I took the battery charger off of it, and I went to crank it up, and it didn't even crank. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably time to go get a battery. Yeah. I'm telling you, if it can happen, it'll happen. That's what scares me.
I've got like one of everything in that deck system in my truck.
Yeah.
So does he. And then some.
Yeah.
I got half-inch impacts. I got right-angle drills. I got right-angle impacts. I got floor jacks. I got every tool you can possibly think of.
NASCAR.
I think there was 2 years of opens. The first 2 years I did the opens that I like literally either watched somebody have issues or I almost had an issue. That I needed to go like to a store, go buy something. And then the next time I'd go to the hardware store or Lowe's or something, I'd be going down the tool aisle. And I'm like, you know what? I wish I had had that tool like 3 weeks ago. I'm just going to go ahead and get it while I'm thinking about it.
Mhm.
And like, you just start thinking that way over the year. And every time you walk into one of those stores or automotive store or something, and you remember that one time that something could have happened, you're like, well, I wasn't really getting much, but like $10 worth of stuff today. It's like going to a tackle store,
Yep.
but you're like, you know, like I was going to spend $10 today, but what's an extra $40 on this tool? You know, and you throw it in the truck and don't use it for like 3 months. And then you run into somebody like Bobby and you're like, oh, that's why I bought that tool that day.
Yep. I'm that guy. It's amazing the amount of stuff you run into on the road.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, I
Hey,
fix.
we've not really had.
Yeah, no, I'm prepared for it, and I mean, I've helped a lot of different people with a lot of different things, but I've been fortunate so far. I mean, I'm sure my time's coming. Well, the day after Christmas, we're at her folks, 2 hours from here. I got up at 5 a.m. to drive back to town to go to work, and I roll into the first job site. The roofers were there. We just put trusses up on this big car wash. They were getting ready to shingle it, and somebody dropped a half a coil of roofing nails. So 7:45 in the morning, I had 17 nails on my left front tire. So I go down to, I had to run a couple other jobs to get a button. My drywallers run another job, hustle around. I finally make it over to my guy that does all the service on all my trucks and everything. And he's like, well, I don't have a plug kit big enough for that. So he's like, well, because I got an off-road tractor tire tube kit. He goes, maybe we can patch it. We pulls the tire off the rim, and that gets it, pumps it up, holds air. And I said, dude, awesome. I said, I really appreciate you saving me. I said, how much do it? He goes, it's not, I can't bill you. It's not street legal. I'm like, he said, he's like, dude, you need new tires. Those are really bad. I said, I know. How about next week? He said, cool. I said, here's $50 once. He goes, much appreciated. I'll see you next week. So it goes in tomorrow to get, my work truck goes in tomorrow to get new tires on it. So, yeah.
Gosh.
So I know you guys are asking all the questions before we wrap up. Here's a question that I think a lot of people don't think about. Like when I hear people that are getting ready to get in the opens and do all this stuff, like you've got, I'd say 3 types of people, right? You've got people that want to live a dream, that want to say, you know, I'm not going to have the chance to do, you know, and Rick's a prime example of this. You know, Rick was a co-angler for the last couple of years to learn how things go and fish out of state of Florida stuff. But, you know, Rick has said multiple times, you know, I don't know how long I've got left to be able to live a dream. It's always been a dream to say I've fished against the best in the world, the whole deal. Maybe have a shot at going to the Classic. I've got, you know, 3 years till my wife retires. I'm going to take the next 3 years and just do this. That's, you know, the dreamer side of things, right?
Yep.
That fish the opens. And then you've got somebody that's really young, fresh out of high school, fished since they were 3 years old, or even, you know, in their 30s, 40s, 50s that have done this since they were 3 years old and, you know, tournament fished since they went fishing with their dad when they were, you know, whenever. But, you know, you've got those guys that are like hardcore sunrise to sunset, the whole deal, you know, super regimented, almost like a military regiment.
Right.
And then you've got the few types of people that kind of splits the crowd, right? You've got the ones that are like, oh, it'd be really cool to go fish the opens. I think I'm going to bring my family with me and make it like a mini vacation and do whatever. But you guys are like the team, right? So Harvey and Rhonda, the team, you guys, you know, you see you guys on the road. And that was the first time I kind of met you guys, you know, not face to face, really introduced ourselves, but noticed it. Was probably like you were saying at what was the tournament you got 8th in?
Virginia.
Virginia, James River. I think that was the first time I kind of noticed you guys around. And it was, you know, Rachel was super supportive of you the whole time at launch. And then, you know, right at weigh in, taking pictures, the whole deal. And like the cheerleader,
Right.
you know, back in, you know, whatever the help that was needed, it was like the full experience. It wasn't like family vacation mode. It was teamwork mode. And so I say all that to get to, you know, how do you guys approach tournament fishing, whether it's at home or traveling on the road? and making that work, because, you know, there's some people that go on the road to get away from their family, and then there's other people that bring them on the road and it turns out to be a distraction. So where's the balance that you guys have found? Because it seems to be working, you know, the last couple years. And if I asked my wife that same thing, she'd probably say, well, there's days I wanted to kill you, and then there's days that I'm really happy for you.
Oh yeah, no, and it's a ever evolving balance. So I actually didn't start really tournament fishing until I was like 20 years old, 21 years old, when my dad and I started some local club stuff like that. Got really hard, you know, all in, over the deep end, all into it. Anything I could find around the house. When we got together, you know, a group of my buddies and I would always talk about traveling, doing the opens, you know, trying to see if we had a shot or not. And when we got together, I talked about it with her, and then finally one year she's like, 2020, she's like, no, you're doing it. I don't care. We'll figure it out.
Well, because before me, he had kids, and he had, you know, had to have shared placement with the kids and everything else, and had work. And it was one of those things that he talked about he wanted to do, but he'd never really had anybody that was willing to support him doing that. And it does work because we both have kids with other people. So we have somewhere where they can go when we're traveling. So I was like, you know what? We can do it. You need to try it. Right. He's like, no, are you serious? I'm like, no, for real. Like, you need to do it.
And I told her, I said, you know, you're opening a can of worms. You can't put it back in the box after this. Like, I'm in, you know, and it there's been times Martin, Lake Martin, at the end of the year, right? She's a NASCAR fanatic, 24/7 NASCAR radio in her car, right? And she's like, Talladega's an hour and a half away, and, you know, will you take me to the race? I said, yeah, we got 5 days of practice. I'm not in contention for squad. I said, yeah, let's take a day off and go to the race. But now other days, no, she's tried that in the past. I'm like, honey, I'm here to fish. Like, hey, don't bring the truck back at 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night when it's dark and I get off the water, and now I got to go 20 minutes out of my way to go find a gas station. Like, I just want to go to bed. Like, I'm exhausted. So we're both very strong people, and when I'm out of line, she lets me know.
Or there's the days that he's had a bad day and he's like, screw it, I'm not weighing my fish. I'm like, oh no. We are here. We have been here all week. I don't care if there's one fish and it's not even a pound. It goes in that bag. You weigh it. You go across that stage. You were here. You fished it. I don't care what it is. Like, you can't have that immediate reaction to just be like, screw it, I don't care. Like, that's not the long term where you need your mindset to be. So sometimes I have to, because he actually wanted to do that at the Nation. Day one of the Nation Championship. It had already been a bad week anyway with his motor and everything else. So it had already been a bad week, and he didn't have what he wanted, and he wasn't going to. I said, this is the national championship. A lot of people wish they could be here. Mm-hmm. You're crossing that stage. That is a different stage than you've been on. You're crossing that stage.
Yeah.
He didn't want
to. It's ever evolving. But there was a lot of headbutting early on because I'm like, you need to learn to back the truck up.
I did not want to.
I'm like, no. Right. I'm like, you can do it. I'm like, do you know how much easier this is going to be? I'm like, this is going to be so efficient for both of us. You can get the trailer. Like, I don't have to try to park in somebody's way. Go get blah, 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 blah. Right. No. Well, then she'd pull it around and somebody else would pull up, and it'd be 50 ramps, but there'd be somebody else that could see her. She'd call me.
Yes, somebody was watching me. I did not want to.
I'm not doing it. Well, then we got her to do a little bit, and then I got to I'd call her when she'd back up. No, little left, little right. I know what I'm doing. Blah, blah, blah. So that now I just sit there, and I've had some co-anglers like, she gonna get it? I'm like, yeah. It's like, do you think you should help? I'm like, nope, don't help her. Just she'll get it. Just sit here and be quiet. You're gonna get yelled at. Mm-hmm. And she does it just fine. That's the thing, is she could do it just fine.
I just didn't like to do it when there's people around. So there was a couple of tournaments where if he was practicing on a day and it wasn't a busy ramp, and I could get there before he'd come in, and I would kind of try it, or if he'd be coming in, there's nobody around. I just never wanted to do it with everybody judging me, because I know what y'all think. I know you think it when the co-anglers are trying to do boats and trailers, and there's some co-anglers that can't do it either.
Oh, I refuse to let any co-angler. It's nothing against them, but 9 times out of 10, there's not really, and it. Poor Jesse Tacarana again. I happened to watch this happen at Oneida, and I've had nightmares ever since. His co-angler, the one day at Oneida, they've got these stop signs at the end of each aisle, and they've got these huge cement things on the bottom that they sit on. And his co-angler was going down the one aisle and there was not a spot in that aisle open, and went to go around it and completely clipped his whole fender of his trailer and knocked it over. I'm talking that thing must have been 100-pound piece of cement holding that thing. And it knocked that thing clear over and messed up his whole fender on that thing. And I went there and I couldn't say words fast enough to make it stop.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You can see it happen. Like
You're like, watch it. You're like, there's no way he's making that turn. He's not going to try. And then sure enough, things are just happening faster than your brain's processing it. And I watched that and I was like, oh my, to the point where he locked it up so bad, he had to get out, unhook the trailer and push the trailer off and recenter it to get it back on the truck. It was no good.
See, like in my head, that's the kind of horror story.
And while I'm sitting in the boat thinking everything's great, that's all that's going through my head. And I'm like, unless it's somebody that's what's so great about Rick being with with us was I'm like, all right, Rick, has his moments sometimes, but I can trust him that he's not.
We can talk about the moment he did with freaking Monty.
Anyways,
I let him do it like twice, and he hits my tailgate because I left my tailgate down, and he hit my tailgate on my trick. Oh, never mind. But you want to talk about first time I ever backed down a trailer? I jackknifed it so we were with my dad's helper at work. He runs a print press, and his helper was like, go up there and back trailer down. I was like, I don't know, 16, 17, and I'm like, and he's like, come on, go do it. I'm like, no. And he's like, he kept, he wouldn't stop. So I went up there and I started doing it, and I was using the mirrors, and I like lost one side for a long period of time, and I jackknifed it so bad I backed over the trailer.
Holy!
I bent the post that holds the winch and everything. It went under the trailer, so it warped the whole trailer sideways. I was maybe 14 or 13. I was crying. I was pissed because he made me do it, and I screwed it up because I had never even been shown how to do it. Not like my dad hadn't tried yet because I wasn't at that level yet, but he thought I was. So he's like, go do it. I'm not taking no for an answer. Oh my God.
I was lucky. I learned on a tractor. What you could see it right there in the middle of 40 acres. So I mean, I was probably 8, 9 years old or whatever. And then, go around the neighbors, plow their garden, take the tractor down the road. So I was pretty fortunate on that end. So if it it doesn't even have to have a steering wheel. If it's a piece of equipment that runs, I can run it. I can drive it. So
I will say I have been pretty lucky. The few times that I've had problems, a lot of the guys have been really good about trying to walk me through it. Ty was one of the good ones that he's walking next to me and he's talking me through it. And of course, inside I'm just like dying, like I can't figure this out on my own. But he was really good about helping me. I've never really had anybody that was just like, thankfully I've never had anybody that was like, just let me do it. But
I think in most cases, as long as you're putting the effort into it, not throwing your hands up the whole time, I think that like as long as there's movement going on, it's the ones that you watch and like the trailer gets jackknifed and they just made that mistake and they pull up and they go make the same mistake 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
I think that's when it's like, okay, you're not trying to correct anything here. You're just going to keep getting the same results. And that's
what's the definition of insanity?
Right.
Yeah. I think when you're seeing progress being made, you're not going to really critique anybody because everybody has their good days and bad. I mean, I have my days where I'm sitting there and I've got to readjust it 3 or 4 times.
But,
Yeah. But it's, and I got lucky with my wife. She's been around horses her whole life. So she's had a horse trailer and she was Miss Independent trailer and her horse all over God's creation. So, it's pretty easy for me to send her up there to, go get it because she already knew how to do it to begin with because she's done it by herself for so many years before we got together. So I got lucky there, but yeah, no, that was my question. I was wondering how you guys manage it on the road without killing each other.
There's been moments where like I just
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we're better on the road than when we're here. I don't know. Maybe it's just like I know not to push his buttons as much while we're on the road because of the tournament. Like, I'll push his buttons here to no end. Like, I don't care at home.
What the?
But on the road, I'm not as likely to push his buttons because there's
So
too
maybe
much-
you guys are good at like not pushing each other's buttons on the road as heavy because you know there's a possibility one of you staying there and the other one's going home.
Yeah, that's precisely it. Now you tell me on live television, you tell me that you're pushing my button. Man, I'm over this. I'm going back.
Out.
Peace out. I did tell her though, Bobby, if I ever have a Bobby Bakewell moment and I'm holding that trophy over my head on the ride home, her pretty butt is sitting in the back seat and that thing is getting seatbelted in.
Are you kidding? You should have her drive and you sit in the back seat with the trophy.
That might be depends how far away we are. That might be the second half after I stop and get fuel.
Oh, no, because if you tell me that I'm going to have to sit in the back, I'm going to get a plane ticket and you're just going to be by yourself. And then when you get back here, trophy or not, check or not, those door locks are all going to be changed.
Yeah, you'll still want the check.
I was gonna say, you said something about a check. I was like,
Yeah.
bring
All
that
right,
check.
I'm taking the check. You can
Yeah,
take
yeah,
the
yeah,
trophy.
yeah.
I'll let you do it. You know what? There you go. I will let you put me in the back seat and put the trophy in the front seat as long as the check's in my hand.
That's a fair trade. You better take that deal. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Probably the only one I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
It's the only one I'm gonna get. I'll take it. Fine. You win.
There you go. Oh man.
Well, I suppose, gentlemen, I really appreciate it. It's been a blast, and we are definitely gonna have to do this again.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, you guys better get off of here and get to rigging. There's still a couple hours left in the night, so an hour.
For you.
An hour for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm getting right there in that
Look at it,
cozy
just-
symbol
Yeah.
gun.
Yep.
Hold on. Before we go, even though we had it earlier before we went live, I need you to just go grab that trophy and just bring it up to the camera.
Okay.
We got to see it.
It's freaking heavy. I can tell you that. There
Yes.
you go.
There we go.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Can't even get it
You
on.
just had to wait till the last one of the season to do it too, didn't you?
Yeah. That was kind of the nice part of things. Was like, they didn't have anything to post for a little while, so they just kept posting me.
So it's like Bobby.
Right.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, strategery behind that one.
Yeah. You had three weeks of press on that one.
Heck yeah.
That's a good time.
It was.
Heck yeah.
It was crazy. I've never
All
had
right,
such
Well, why don't you guys go mess around and win another one, and we'll be there at the Classic to support you.
I was going to say, since we won't see you at any of the Opens, since we're
Yeah.
on two different divisions this time, we will see you at the Classic.
I don't know. There may be a wild hair that goes up my butt and wants me to go over to Leech on one on that one after because
Yes.
we'll be up at the St. Lawrence and it's like a week in between, so we can make a.
That's right.
Hollywood and I were talking about making
Dude, I didn't know that.
a little road trip that we could go from St. Lawrence all the way, and we could do 8 hours one day, fish a day, 8 hours a day, fish a day, and we could go like Cayuga, what was it? Cayuga, Sandusky Bay, go up to St. Clair for a day, go to Mille Lacs for a day, and then we'll be like 2 days early for practice on Leech.
There you go.
Yeah.
I may be down for that.
I know. I'm strongly thinking about it, and if the opens field is still wide open, I might sign up for one.
I need revenge on that lake.
I do too. That's the only reason why I want to go. That we may fish lacrosse for a day. We come
Yeah.
see you guys.
That
For sure.
that drive sucked though. That drive sucked so bad. 2 15 full hour days of me and Hollywood switching back. That sucked. 30 hours was crazy. But
Really? You guys switch back and forth?
yes, we did. Yeah, I was very fortunate.
Okay.
On the way back, we didn't. Wait, maybe we did.
One driver in my truck.
There was two. You're just too.
I'm a control freak. I can't. The way I look at it is if I sit in the passenger seat, I can't sleep while somebody else is driving. I just can't do it. I cannot.
Oh, I can. I'm out. I'll drive till I drop, and I'm done.
Cannot do
I
it.
was a co-angler. I was a co-angler for 3 years. So I freaking man, whenever we go,
Dude,
man.
the last time I competed at Leech Lake before last year, we went up there for an NABC, my team partner and I, and we took my boat and his truck. And I said, And he goes to me, he goes, well, are you driving or am I driving? I said, I don't care, whatever you want to do. He's like, well, I can't really sleep in the truck. I said, well, I can. And when I woke up, we rolled into Walker, Minnesota the next morning because we left at like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, I was ready to go. He hadn't slept a wink, but I slept the whole damn way. He's like, yeah, SOB, you shouldn't have. I'm like, dude, you told me you couldn't sleep. I said I could. You need something, you should have woke me up.
Yeah.
Slept the whole day.
He can. The first time I ever pulled a trailer, it was a trailer with a brand new boat coming back from Falcon with him and his dad. We drove straight through, drove there, picked it up, drove straight back.
To Newberry, South Carolina.
I'd never pulled a trailer. I'd never pulled a boat. Brand new boat. Him and his dad both fall asleep. And I just drive. I was like, I couldn't believe that he fell
Through
asleep.
the construction zone.
Oh no.
Going up the mountains, and I'm like shaking. I'm having like anxiety attack. Like I don't want to wake him, but I'm not having a good time.
I drove the
I'm
15 and a
stressed
half
out.
hours there, spent 3-4 hours doing whatever, touring the factory, signing the papers, getting the thing, do this, that, right? And then I drove like 6 hours. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. I need a nap. Here you go, honey.
Yeah, him and his dad both. I've never pulled a trailer ever at all. And a brand new boat. My anxiety was.
Oh, she's really good at it.
Yeah.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, that's how you gotta learn though.
All right.
It sucks.
Go teach them to swim. Throw them in feet head first.
Mhm.
Thanks.
But you did fine.
Thankfully,
But did you die?
I did not die. But if anything had happened to that boat, I probably would have.
Well, don't worry. The week later, I was going to our Monday night league about 45 minutes up the road in the interstate in the construction zone. And a lady was passing on the left, and she right into my fender.
Mm.
Toward the rear end of her bumper right off her car and this and that. So I pull over, and then they stop like way behind me, and they switch drivers. And I'm like, I'm furious. There's not even enough room to pull over. And I'm on the side of the interstate yelling at them, running down the interstate. And I said, pull over up here to this gas station, blah, blah, blah. Well, I should have made them go ahead of me, not thinking because I was so mad. I pull in the gas station, they took off. Yeah. Luckily, it didn't. It messed up their car, but it didn't do anything really to the it creased the one fender a little bit, but it wasn't bad. It was just a little bit of cosmetic stuff, luckily. But yeah, that was the one that the state trooper rolls in, and I'm leaning on the thing, and I say, just so you're aware, there's a firearm in the center console. He goes, okay. He goes, tell you what, don't show me yours. I won't show you mine. I said, cool.
On that note,
You had enough?
Yeah.
You sure? I feel like we can keep going.
an hour ahead of us. They're way past Bobby's bedtime.
Bobby's going to be making phone calls. He's sleeping in tomorrow, aren't you?
I'm definitely sleeping in tomorrow. I'm good, but
I'm gonna wake him up at 7:30.
yeah. Hey, this phone has a silent button.
Yeah. Did you see the other morning when you had the silent button on and it said on my side, notify anyways?
Yeah, I still. Buddy,
I clicked the heck out of that button, sent him a couple of text messages.
It don't wake me up. I can sleep to a hurricane. I got news for you. Shoot. When I drove all the way from Texas home the other day and never stopped, 17 hours. I got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I put that joker on do not disturb and vibrate. And that was the morning you called me and did not get a response because I was out. But
17 hours straight through? No way.
Yeah. It's,
17.
What are you talking about? We've done 22 from
But
Florida.
that's two of us.
Well, yeah, but I did.
Rick and I
18 of
did
myself.
24 like twice.
Yeah.
It's different when you got somebody with
Run one way or not stopped. But
I drove to Florida myself.
Yeah.
I stopped at a truck stop, though. She gets mad when I pull over on the overpass and sleep.
Mm-mm.
Like, it's free. They're going to shoot us. I said, I'll shoot back. It's okay.
No. You're asleep though. They come up to the truck to shoot you. You're asleep. You have truck, boat. You look like you're rich because everything's covered and wrapped and logos, and you're asleep. So if they're going to take you, they're going to shoot you through the window before you woke up.
No.
Brian, just take the L.
I've taken enough tonight. No, go on the line. All right, gentlemen.
All right,
Awesome. I appreciate it. You guys have a great night.
Of course, buddy. Y'all do the same.
All right.
Good luck. Couple weeks.
Thanks.
Thank you. You too. Bigelow and old Tyler Williams and Kyle Patrick can't even turn a damn TV on.
I can, but my computer was just really dead.
It was so dead that it took you 10 minutes just for it to finally realize it was charging.
Yeah.
Bobby looks like Mr. Wilson from.
Oh,
Now we're
Improvement.
cooking with gas.
Home Improvement. Yeah, there you
yeah.
go.
Did you see that?
now
Tim
we're
Allen's got a
cooking
new
with
show
gas.
coming.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Doorman. That was pretty
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
Migration assistant? No. I can't.
That's why I figured Bobby can't turn his computer on. Like he's one of the youngest ones in the group here. If he can't figure it out, like
Oh
We're in
yeah.
trouble.
Oh yeah.
yeah, don't look at me.
I just knew it wasn't gonna happen. That was the moral of the story.
When I go to my office and she's changed some setting, I have to call her because if it's not, I know how to turn the computer on. I know my password and I know how to print stuff. And if she changes anything, I gotta call her.
Okay, why isn't it printing?
I tell her when you leave it set up for me, not for you. Leave it for me.
No, I don't want a recovery email.
It was really dead.
You're
He's like going through the
signed
startup
in.
over here.
When's the last time
I'm
you
getting
used this?
I'm getting in my email.
Okay.
I mean, I've been fishing all year, buddy. I don't need a computer for that shit. They want my home address. They're not going to get it.
What are you
Why is it going to you?
Yeah, where are you signing
Here
into?
we go. My Gmail.
They want your home
So I
address?
Yeah, they wanted that. Entering the studio. Oh wait, I can't wear my AirPods for my Mac, can I?
You have to sync them to it on Bluetooth.
I wonder how that works. Safari doesn't support StreamYard, bro. Come on now, we can do better than this. Chrome? Do I have to download
not
Chrome just to do this shit?
Shouldn't have to.
Download Chrome.
Chris, your eyes look incredibly blue on this video.
I got I've got
It's your lighting in the back.
yeah,
Oh.
I've got ring lights.
Look at him. He is
Is
all
that
for the-
fancy.
Is that for your makeup in the morning?
It's this is my desk. My whole desk deal. I got my laser
when-
engraver, my computer,
Speaking of laser
t-shirt
engraving,
press, hat press. Yeah.
Oh shit! I downloaded Chrome twice.
See what I mean?
All right, here we go. 13 seconds, 12 seconds. No, I got this shit. This is gonna happen. Oh damn, my Mac's getting all my texts from the last 6
There it is.
Oh.
look at
all
Chris has got like
beautiful.
mood lighting in the background.
Yeah, we
Drag and
got
drop. Yeah, but he has a multi-floor house. Okay, I have one room. Okay,
Are you kidding me? My kid's got all this crap in his room.
drag and drop Chrome to the applications folder.
Wait, that's inside your house even with your fancy little wall back there and everything?
Yeah, I made this is where I do my little TikTok live stuff and all that stuff. So I made a little.
Have you done one in
backdrop.
a while? Because I haven't seen one.
I jump on with other people these
Oh.
days lately. I haven't really
Oh.
like I'll probably do one when I'm wrapping my boat over the weekend.
Hey, you need to wrap mine.
Well,
You
somebody
need to know what
hasn't
you're going to
even
put on it.
I was gonna say somebody hasn't even sent me who their sponsors are.
Doesn't sound like you
I
know.
had
So,
19.
you know what? I'm just gonna put one big 44 tackle and a Bakewell
not
jigs
funny.
on there. We're good.
That's not funny. I freaking I think I had a total of 20 phone calls today. I was non-stop on my freaking phone. All right, now I have to find the applications folder on this.
Shit, I did that before 8:30.
20 phone calls before
Oh
8:30?
God, yeah.
No,
The day
okay,
after Christmas, I had-
these were all sponsor phone calls, not work phone calls.
You don't
I
have
had-
20 sponsors.
I had 85 phone calls the day after
it
Christmas.
wasn't. It was discussing sponsors and shit like
Did you
that.
talk to Steve?
No, God, no. I haven't talked to him. I've been doing actual sponsor stuff. Come on, just open.
Well, we know he didn't write together a business plan or any kind of marketing package to give to his
Because he hasn't
sponsors.
been on that computer.
Unless he hand wrote it, send it by
No.
carrier
You
pigeon,
can
maybe.
do it on your phone. You can do it on
Oh.
your phone. You can do
We're
it.
just
on your
gonna.
phone.
What was it, Chris? Bobby the Beast or Bobby Bakewell? We need to put one
Yeah,
of those on
something
the
like
side of his
that.
boat.
Buzz and Bobby Bakewell.
Buzzing Bobby Bakewell, yep. With the toad toter, the greenfish toad toter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, that greenfish one is by far the best squealing sounding. I don't know what they
Isn't
did
it
different,
fire?
but that thing's phenomenal, man.
Isn't it fire?
I've got like 10 different kinds of buzz baits in that one.
I gotta
I mean,
send
on
you
package.
the ones that Eddie's making down here, Spinnerbait Eddie. Those are
Yeah.
actually really good.
Yeah.
We've got the ones without the clackers. He
Yep.
makes one with a pipe clacker on it that's loud and obnoxious. But the one that's not a clacker, he's got them like he gave me one. Actually, it's right here. Oh, no,
Start
that's not a
Google
clacker.
Chrome.
Bobby's gonna get this.
It's
use
this.
Chrome.
It's this one without
Okay.
that pipe.
Yes, ladies
That
and gentlemen.
piece of pipe.
Yep.
But
Nice.
yeah,
Nice work,
that's
though.
like without it.
Oh, excuse me.
Hey, Bobby, do you do the updates on your electronics on your boat?
Well, I haven't had to, honestly, because I only had that boat for a year.
Oh,
But but yeah,
that's fine. He doesn't
We
either.
got
I
it.
do it.
the garment
got
ones
to-
are super easy.
We did like 6 of them on my one Humminbird.
No, it's a trolling motor.
No, it was the Humminbird at St. Clair
Oh.
to get the new map card to work because my graph was so old. That
Oh, that's
Humminbird-
right. Humminbird makes you do all the
yeah,
prerequisites
it's a
first.
Pain. Humminbird is
Yeah.
a pain.
Oh, it was the trolling motor that was at Leech that I had to update the trolling motor twice.
You can
They
always
needed
shoot.
an update.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, something was going up with something. Yeah.
Sure, whatever. Got it.
Yeah, technology. is the
Okay,
best thing
here we
ever.
go. Here we go. Gmail.
You still have to figure out how to Bluetooth your headset. but-
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I got this.
How did you have a 30-minute head
Wait a
start
minute.
on me?
I have
I'm already ready.
I have an Xbox headset. That
He was
probably-
waiting
oh,
for
I
the
would look
computer
like-
to finally kick on.
Hold on.
Oh,
Does this? Oh, look at here. Look at here.
Oh, he's got an
See, I'll-
Xbox headset.
Yeah, I'm good. I've got this shit. Oh, okay. I'm not on this. I'm on this. And then click on the link. Entering the studio.
You should,
no
you should,
mic
you should
slash
block him
camera
and kick him
access.
out.
Oh,
Don't
you
accept them.
would suck so much right now. Let me plug this in.
Now watch,
Oh.
he'll pop up and he'll either have sound and no video, or he'll have video
Oh yeah,
and
oh
no
yeah,
sound.
oh yeah. Allow.
You know, you could just set it up so then you could have 2 different, one side profile and one front on. You could be like glamour shots or something.
Yeah. I'd like to access microphone.
Like, why
Access
is there
microphone.
Why is there 2
Access
spots of
microphone.
Bobby?
Okay, we gotta adjust that little bit right there, boy.
Chris, how was your club meeting tonight?
oh, excellent.
Yeah, the
That's
super important club meeting.
That was our first one of the year.
You guys have big clubs?
So we used to pull 30 boats in our club, but lately has not been as good. I think we've got 14 or 15 going into this year right now, but we'll pick up 2 or 3 after the first 2 tournaments, and then it fluctuates throughout
I'm
the
in
year.
twice. I'm somebody.
Look at
Look
that.
at that.
I told you.
We got both angles.
Hell yeah. I told you. Okay.
Bobby, we need one of the front,
Chris,
one of
does
the
yours
back.
have like a little Mikey deal, or are you just using the camera headset? Or I mean, not the camera headset, the laptop audio. Oh shit!
He's got his fancy mic.
My
We
God,
got a sword
somebody.
fancy mic.
I might just use my freaking mic audio. Hold on, which one's left and which one's right? I'll figure it out. Boom. Okay. I know. I got you. No, I look like a freaking nerd. I gotta figure this shit out. Okay.
You know what's good
Hold
about the
Hold on.
the headphones thing?
Uh,
It stops the echo, but the
Undo
other thing
these.
with the headphones is it keeps. Oh, I hear you.
Oh,
I'll be in.
can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm just gonna use screw the headphones. I'm just gonna use the freaking Mac speakers. Do I sound fine?
You got
You're not echoing or anything.
Oh yeah, and that's what we're doing. I don't need to do anything special. I'm somebody. Yeah.
I'm really so glad I already started recording. I won't use this, but I might.
Why not?
I might
The
need
best
to.
part of it.
You can. I don't care. I don't give a damn. Who am I hiding from?
Hold on, he's got to clean the sticky stuff off of his camera.
Oh, now see, that's low. That's low. That's low.
Life on the
You
road's
might
tough.
just have to use it.
Yeah. Freaking. All right. Yeah, I think we're good. See, I told you I'd figure it out. I'm freaking technology savvy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, about
This
as much
cold
as I-
weather's got me looking like Brian now.
right.
I got a haircut tomorrow.
Yeah. I grew up my scruff.
Day late for this.
Okay, Cole, what was your temperature today?
Today,
Yeah.
40 in the morning, 43.
Ours was real feel 19.
It was
It's supposed to be
16.
19 next week.
It was 16 this morning here. In town it was about 20. When I got out to the job site out and about in the country, it was about 16 degrees with wind blowing about 8 miles an hour out of the west northwest. So it was about real feel of like 8, 9.
You can have that shit.
Yeah, we're gonna have what? It's supposed to be 19 next week, and I guess
Keep hearing that.
Order-
I ain't seen that.
a quarter of the state's supposed to have snow.
Oh,
Yeah, the top.
It's missing us. It's going
your
supposedly
mom's
this
house
big,
is supposed to have snow.
Probably.
this big polar vortex is missing us, and it's supposed to be down in Illinois, just south of us, and they're talking 12 to 18
y'all can
inches.
keep it down in Florida when it gets there. Don't
Yeah.
send it back.
I'm just warning you now, this chair, you're going to be hearing some freaking squealing.
Just wait till he goes backwards in it again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If I don't fly away, if I fall on this freaking thing, you do not have my blessing to use it. I'm just
So
saying.
that I can't use. Everything else
You
is
are-
game.
You already
Hey, Bobby.
signed the waiver.
Turn it towards your wall.
I want
You're-
to use a different light so that ceiling fan light's not freaking bright.
We're
as
just
hell.
gonna put this at the end. We'll start the podcast with our introductions, and then I'll just move this section to like the end.
All right, bet.
Because I mean, why not?
I can plug this one in.
It's not every day you get dinner and a show.
That's right. I'm trying not to kill my laptop right now by unplugging it. I'm trying to multitask here. Okay, so we got that light now. Now we're double lit. Boom! Look at that ambiance. No, that's not bright enough.
You gotta have a light in your face.
Oh,
That's how it
You
works.
need one of the beauty rings like Chris has got.
yeah. See, no, he's a princess. No, that's the best you're gonna get.
You say a princess, but I ain't got a mirror like that in my room.
Right. That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, dang, dude, like,
Hold on,
You do
hold
that?
on, hold on.
Is that where you do your makeup?
Look at.
He's got a whole wall of mirrors.
Oh my
I got
god!
a freaking closet that's a mirror.
You look at yourself every angle in that room.
Dang right. Are you kidding me?
I think Bobby the Beast maybe has a little different
Yeah.
profession, not fishing on this little back,
Well, see-
something on the side.
A mirror, okay. When your
So
mind eyes.
start
Only
start
the
turning
ceiling.
your angle
What?
to kind of
Right between the
slowly.
two lights.
Yeah, right.
Right. Oh, no,
Back that other way a little bit. A little more. Yep,
right there.
right there.
Right between the two lights.
I gotta freaking.
Oh shit! Nope, we're screwed now.
Now you shift it back just a hair the other
Yeah,
way.
something moved. The
Oh,
door
it's
moved.
the-
There we
yeah,
go.
It's the
Got
mirror
it.
window.
I got it.
Closet.
Should I move my high school trophy and put the Martin trophy?
What happens if you go the other way? What does
Huh?
it look like? What does it look like if you go the other way?
Where is your big trophy, Bobby?
I can go get it.
Yeah. It should be right next to you.
Yeah,
You
block
know.
the light with that.
Mom, I want my trophy, Mom.
Mom, meatloaf.
He had meatloaf tonight.
I did have veal for dinner. This is very, very good.
I lost the buzz bag.
Ah, the meatloaf.
Lost the buzz bag.
I can't believe he was going to be on here without having the trophy in the video. Like, what?
He didn't have a computer when we started this either, so don't be shocked.
I don't have an office. You know what I'm saying? I have my room that I live in. Okay, so I don't really. I mean, I
Just
could
hold it.
Just put it on your lap.
Hold it the
Put it on
whole
your lap.
time.
put it on my lap.
Yeah.
Set it on the desk right on the side of your laptop. It'll block that light beam.
I don't have any room on my desk. But
What is it,
oh,
a
see,
TV table?
Well, now you can't see it.
I know. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm I'm just screwed. I'm gonna
Just
throw
hold it.
it here. And it'll be
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, that'll block the light.
There we go.
There we go.
oh.
All right, now slide it back. Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that is, I don't know. I'm sorry. That is so gay. It's not even funny. It's like, I'm going to put it, no, I'm just going to put it back here. Ah.
Oh, now the light's back.
Look, okay, it ain't going to be perfect with me. That's just the moral of the story. Boom. Right in the light. That's the best you're going to get. Maybe
Unscrew. Hey, just unscrew one of the bulbs.
It's only one ball.
It's
Oh.
reflecting off the mirror. That's why.
There we go. That's good. That's good right there. Don't move. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good there. Perfect. Excellent.
Boom.
Beautiful.
That way it's in the background.
Unanimous.
I even got the buzz bait. It's got dust on it.
All right.
I don't know what I did with my drink.
Mom!
Oh, it's right here. No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, he's got it. All right. Are we ready so I can start my
I'm
introduction?
present. Oh my God.
What's he cracking? Oh, that chair. Oh, it's a Coke.
Oh yeah, I told you it was gonna happen. Oh, oh. Oh yeah, there it is. Which one's that?
Where's your toys? That sounds weird. What?
Trick shed.
Everybody else has got toys. Where's your toys at?
Oh boy.
Whoopsie.
Okay, you can't have a paper towel roll. What fun is that?
He said you asked him where his toys were.
Yeah, that's all I got.
We have a whole bunch of ice fishing baits upstairs.
Yeah, I did buy the whole thing off. Yeah, you should go grab it. I'll go grab it. I'll get it. Hold
With
on.
your Chris, wait till he stands up. You haven't seen his pajama pants.
Oh.
You got pajama pants?
Oh, elf, Christmas jammies.
Nice.
Mhm.
Excellent.
You couldn't have thought about toys before we're ready to start?
What?
Nothing.
They wouldn't got stuff. I can.
I was told to in my defense.
Yeah,
Towards
you
what?
have to have the trophy. You can't have something like that, not have it. Like,
I'd mount that to the hood of your truck.
It's actually been in my living room.
I drive around with it buckled in the car all the time.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know.
Every time you walk by it, do you just like give it a little elbow grease? Like, oh, there's a smudge there.
It ain't.
There. How's that?
Will you rent the whole sheet?
Well, yeah. I don't want to lose them. They're tiny. Here's mine.
Jesus.
Oh, nice.
What are you fishing for? Crappie? Brim?
Yep. Crappie bluegills.
Mm.
They haven't made this color in a long time, and I was in there Christmas Eve with my son getting some stuff for my dad for Christmas. So I bought the whole sleeve of them.
They just bought
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I bet it was not as bad as buying that many bass baits.
No, they're tungsten, so they're still $2.50 a piece for those little bitty things. Because that's just
left side.
What?
There you go.
Yeah, that's one of them right there.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
1 pound test line.
Bruh. I know. One? That's hair. Freaking cut some hair off.
Bobby was telling us earlier he really wants to come ice fishing.
No, I don't.
No, I already sent you what I want to do.
Yeah, with the camping on the ice base.
I want to go there for 3 days and not leave it.
Yep.
It's like one of them little cabins. It's got like 4 to 6 beds in it, and it's got a big ass TV screen and live scope and
Hole in the
like,
middle.
satellite TV, internet, the whole deal. It's like shack up for 3 days and never leave.
You got to be a little farther north. We don't quite get that much ice anymore down here.
Yeah,
but
there was a bunch of them in Mille Lacs in Minnesota.
Yep. Lacs. Yeah, they actually named the roads in the middle of Lacs. And then actually, when we were on Leech Lake, right to the south, Winnebagash, that's where we'd always go in March perch fishing, and we'd average 36 to 42 inches of ice. And my power auger, I could drill 57 inches with the power auger with the extension. And I hit a couple times where I didn't make it. But we go up there perch fishing. You'd have to dig a hole through 3.5, 4 foot of snow to get to the ice. And then you had to drill through 42 inches of ice. And then you hope you caught something because you're too tired to move for at least an hour. It was quite a process.
All right, should we get this thing started?
I'm
Officially?
ready. What's the format? Are we just Q&A to?
Yeah, I'll just do my welcome, introduce both of you, and then he has some questions, but I have a feeling with you two, it's just, I told him this is going to go off the rails probably pretty fast. So.
Oh yeah.
I just want you to know how honored Bobby is to be here. It's the first podcast since he's won that he was invited to.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody should have been calling you, Bobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they probably know he didn't know how to use his freaking computer, so they haven't been asking. They're like, "Oh, I don't know shit about it."
Dude,
Get online.
that's the problem. That's the
Oh,
thing. They're
man.
like, he throws a buzzbait. He ain't podcaster.
Yeah, I love the fact that people don't even know that I caught like 3 or 4 of my 5 fish on scope the first day, and nobody talks about it. I just haven't talked about it.
I wouldn't. That's what Tyler's got going for him.
Yeah, the jig thing. But
You better do it quick. Do it if you're doing it.
All right, fine. I'm
Do
on
it.
it.
Hurry,
Do it.
do it. Do
Let's
it.
do it.
Do it.
I can't start till you got it.